It just keeps getting closer and closer. The end of the Area Cup Series season. It's kind of like that exit on Iowa's I-80. Maybe it's a mirage, maybe the season end is closer than it appears. But one thing is for certain, there's another cornfield to get through first. This one might look like it's got a crop circle in it, but it's just the .87-mile Iowa Speedway in the township of Newton. Welcome aboard to round 3 of 5 of the Area Cup Series playoffs and the first race of 2 in the second round to whittle down to a final 4 contenders. Hi everybody, Kyle Heyer, joined by Hunter Sleppy and Finian Daguna tonight for our 15th race of the season, our 3rd in the playoffs. We eliminated 4 drivers last week, Finian. Our trek begins in our second round tonight, so someone could lock their way into that final 4 beginning this evening.
Yeah, I really can, and we're going to see who's going to be one that can do it. We, of course, eliminated 4 drivers last week, and now we're just left with 8. It's not going to be that way for long, as in another 2 races time, including this one, we're going to be sending another 4 drivers home and have our final 4 that'll be competing out for the championship. And it's a really strong 8 drivers, so whoever we are going to be sending home at the end of this round in the championship, it's going to be rough. We'll see how they end up, though, after this race. This will be the start of this round, and really will set the tone going into next week at Auto Club.
Yeah, very interesting looking at this playoff grid. You got James Skiley entered as the 8th seed. He won here back in Season 3, the only time the Cup Series has been here. And you got Matthew Bell also below the cut line, but then you get closer towards that cutoff line. Vector and Kern only separated by a few points from Connor Horn, who's only got a 1-point cushion heading into Iowa, and then Seth Knoll with a 2-point cushion. And you got Jake Nichols and Jake Matheson as well, so the Jake and Jake show at the top of the sheets, Kyle.
It's been like that, it seems, for many points this season, but we're going to get to trudge along in this championship fight with 172 laps tonight at the Iowa Speedway. Practice is completing. We'll head down to the racetrack for qualifying here in just a short moment, but the challenges of Iowa Speedway cannot be overstated. This is a short track, this is a speedway, or somewhere in between. I'm not sure that you can decide definitively what it is. Maybe it's like a slider. One day it's one thing, one day it's the next, but it certainly drives like a short track in some capacities, but has the tendencies of a speedway. One thing's for certain, it's a handful to drive tonight, Finney, and drivers have been saying it's wicked loose out here.
Yeah, it is wicked loose out there, and it's going to be something that they're going to struggle with the track temperature looking 118 degrees. It's going to be tough for these drivers to manage with. That means watching your tires. Not really the wear, more so just managing them, not overheating them, not forcing that right rear tire to work itself more. Otherwise, once you heat that up, it's going to get even more loose throughout the run.
Not to mention the sub that the guys are running tonight. Not a fun one for most of the drivers. It's very loose on the racetrack. So going to be interesting seeing how guys are going to have to make this work. We got 172 laps, Kyle. That's a long way to go.
It certainly can be, especially if we have some yellows along the way, as qualifying is getting set to go at the moment. And in a race like this, we've got 30 cars at a track that's under a mile. It means that qualifying, I would say, is probably somewhat important here this evening. And Seth Knoll is one of the first drivers to put a time up on the board, and he'll jump to the top for the time being. New drivers in yellow this week, new drivers in red. Scioli, Weishart, Beckner, and more in that red box. Everyone else above the, did I say the Weishart? I meant Curhan, Scioli, and Bell. Those in yellow are currently above the cut line, but nobody is locked in yet. It's going to take a win or a big points margin to do that.
Yeah, it's going to be the big thing to see really who's going to be ending up at the top and who can get it. Also, start getting the bonus points now, because you do get a bonus point for qualifying on pole. Currently, Seth Knoll occupying that spot, but still have majority of the field left to put a tie down qualifying. And notably, there is the 24 Michael Curran working his second lap, trying to see if he can get up there on pole.
Michael Curran, the Texas native, it was his birthday yesterday, as you can see from his sign. He wishes for a win tonight, and can wishes come true? And his arm's blocking the... I can't see what the other word is. Can wishes come true?
What a gentleman. Well, we'll see if he can recapture the magic of last time out, as Jake Nichols goes up into 5th place. Not exactly the best qualifying effort there for the 73. Here's Garrett Grant finishing the first of his 2 laps. 9th for him. And we'll be at the bottom of the list, unfortunately, as more and more times come in. He's just about 3/10 off the pace. Edward Shear Jr., he's jumped up to 2nd in the 17 car. He's shown some decent pace.
Grant.
Season here as Garrett Grant's sideways, hangs on to it. Sort of. There he goes. He finally gets to slow down, but that's going to be the end of qualifying for him.
Well, Garrett Grant loves drifting, but I don't think qualifying is the perfect place to do so. And I have no clue no clue what Spencer Burns is running, but he's also drifting.
It's a Toyota.
Who is? What is happening here? I can't tell because of the shadows. We'll have to revisit that one. Connor Horn is on track, and Connor is one of the drivers that is currently above the cut line. And but you think back to the beginning of the season, things were going horribly, and all of a sudden he turned it around with an early season win, and then has had decent runs ever since, and now he's kind of showing up at the right time, and as of tonight, so far, so good.
Yeah, I was going to say, if there's been any time to get your season going in the right direction, I think now is finally the time to start doing where it matters the most. He's had a pretty decent playoff so far, currently sitting just in 4th place, so he's a little bit to the good. He's 1 point above that cutoff line ahead of Michael Curran, who's out. So it's not a whole lot to rest on, but if he keeps the performance of what he's had the last couple of rounds, he should be okay coming across the line for Connor Horn, who finishes qualifying at 10th, up on pole.
Wow, that's a decent lap there, Hunter.
Very big pickup, and I think we're going to see that with most guys, they're going to pick up about 3 or 4 tenths on their second lap, and Blaze McKinney looks like he's just going to call it a day there, unless he must have messed up on his first lap. But Licata's also on the board.
Yeah, Licata's down to 14th. Ricky Springer, Jake Matheson are on track. There's the 56, another one of the drivers that is above the cut line. And Travis Beckner is on track as well. He has yet to put in a time. We'll see what he can do. He's one of the drivers below that cut line, and we know that he's willing to be desperate when desperate times call for it. Here's Matheson after his first lap. Let's see what the 56 can do. 29.924, and that is a slow lap in preparation for a quicker second.
Yeah, I think we're definitely seeing a lot of the guys putting more emphasis on the second lap. We saw with Connor Horn, saved up a lot for that second lap, put him on pole. Ricky Springer, notably he's come across line 51, up in 4th. Now Matheson, though, with his dominance so far, definitely I would say probably one of the championship favorites this season, comes across the line to finish his qualifying attempt. Is it going to be quick enough? Up to 4th place for the 56.
Well, the alarms are sounding. Well, they go. Nope, it's still going. I don't know if you can hear that, but a horn, oddly enough, is going off in my background, and now it just stopped. So, it might be the Connor Horn fan club across the street that's watching this qualifying session. It ticked up as soon as Jake Matheson went on the board, so maybe that was an alert from that. But here's the Season 3 winner, James Scioli. The only time we've been here in the Cup Series, back in Season 3, and he dominated this race, by the way. Led 145 laps. Won this race from the 3rd starting position. So, will we see the 7 on pole?
Well, that time through puts him only 3rd quick, so he will not go on pole, and there's about a dozen cars left that could. But Connor Horn still holds it for the time being, and I guess the death sentence for the 42 could be track temperatures dropping, as it's 116, 2 degrees cooler than it was just a few minutes ago, Finian.
Yeah, it's starting to cool down a little bit, and I think these drivers are kind of hoping for that. A lot of guys near the end of qualifying, if they have been hoping for that, it's that much cooler. Not a lot, but every little bit's going to help, and I think for these drivers, it's going to be a long race ahead, especially considering how these track conditions are looking at, and I think what we might see is also a couple cautions. Get the cat camera.
I'm back in town. Can anyone tell? The cat certainly can. As I lounge in my chair here waiting for someone else to go on track here and set a qualifying time. Everyone's keeping an eye on that that temperature here. And nobody's going. I'm just...
I was going to say, literally there's no one out there on the track. Everyone's kind of waiting, I guess, to see what everyone else is doing.
Nothing is what everyone else is doing for the time being. And we'll take this opportunity while we've got a quiet moment here to let everyone know that you should head over to Area iRacing's Twitch. As a subscriber, you can have Area iRacing emotes to use in the chat. You'll also earn double channel points as a subscriber that you can use to redeem for free merchandise for just $5 a month. That's twitch.tv/Area iRacing. That is twitch.tv/Area iRacing. Billy Mays here. And Skylar Shackelford here. Big moment out of turn 4, and he's going to stick with it and go for it, starting his laps.
Off he goes into turns 1 and 2. Keeps it nice and tidy. And Shackelford, we've seen he's had some decent runs here and there. hasn't been the most consistent. You having trouble there?
There's an animal in my way of my vision.
Like you keep missing the car just as they pass it.
Cat's on my face. This is the situation right now. So,
maybe that's why the NASCAR on Fox broadcasts are always clunky now.
We have a cat in the production booth.
Maybe it's a fox. Skyler Jack. Can you just imagine? All the cameras, they're just all missing the wrecks because there's like a fox loose in the production booth. Shackelford only 21st quick. Newbegin on his first lap, right up high, setting up for a quicker lap on the second lap out, which seems to have been the strategies in the wall, and that will end that qualifying effort. Never mind. Travis Beckner
What is happening here? Running the quarter midget circuit in reverse.
In reverse, yeah. It was funny in Kansas in practice. I forgot who I saw. I think it might have been Beckner or Seth Knoll. I saw one of them running the Kansas Roval.
This wheel is still bouncing all over the place, even going in reverse.
Well, it is the only thing happening on the racetrack at the moment.
Yeah, I'm shocked by that. I wanted to take a look real quick because David Weishart doesn't put down a lap, but he finished second here in our first and only time in the Cup Series around. Didn't lead any laps, but started up in sixth. He'll have his work cut out for him as he's going to be starting from deep in the field.
And no one else is going to qualify, and I think Travis Beckner has undone his qualifying.
Does he think that he can win pole from doing this?
Well, he has not, unfortunately. Row 6 will be the start for the 28. As qualifying comes to a close here, Iowa Speedway 172 laps on tap here in just a moment's time. Our starting lineup is presented by HelloFresh. Looking to eat healthier in 2024 without having to spend extra money? HelloFresh is here to help. Choose from over 40 calorie smart and protein smart meal options each week. Each meal arrives pre-portioned, giving you less time to prep and more time to enjoy your meal. HelloFresh also gives you free breakfast for life with an active subscription. What are you waiting for? You can click the link to get started with America's #1 meal kit today and use the coupon code to save 50% off your first box. You can do that at twitch.tv/area iRacing, HelloFresh. All right, guys, so qualifying, interestingly, a lot of drivers did not qualify. Any rhyme or reason for that, or?
It seems about half the people that were there, they crashed out of qualifying. The other half just didn't want to put a lap in. I think they were looking to start from the back, and maybe that's because maybe they sense there's going to be a lot of cautions. They want to stay out of the mess.
On our thoughts?
Yeah. I didn't expect that many people to not qualify. I was kind of looking at the finishing results here, trying to see who I could talk about because, well, Jake Nichols started fourth, finished fourth here. He led a couple of laps, but he's going to start a little bit deeper in the field. And, yeah, not too many names on here that are running tonight that ran in Season 3.
Yeah, James Scioli is one. We're not going to make our picks just yet, but when we do, it is an interesting stat to look at James Scioli because he was the previous winner of Season 3, as you mentioned. Average last caution, NA, but we had 11 cautions, 50 laps, and only 3 lead changes the last time out. So it bodes an interesting development here tonight if we're going to have 11 yellows in a 172-lap race, and that just means surviving is going to be key tonight. Isn't it always?
Yeah, I was going to say it always is, but, you know, the old adage, you know, to finish first, you must first finish. And I think we might be in store to see that tonight, especially because remember last week, no cautions at Kansas. So I think that these guys got to get out of their systems. We might see that tonight. We'll see, though. I don't think the track temp is definitely going to be helping that out.
What's the track temp, by the way? Because back in Season 3, it was 80 degrees and partly cloudy.
Oh, it's getting toasty. What's going on over here? Oh, is he sneezing? Have a nosebleed, or he's about to pass it?
No, he's been coughing a whole lot over the last week.
Like he was talking into a secret note. Valentine's
He
Day was
inhaled
a
a
couple
little bit
weeks
too
ago.
much dirt at Hendrick County.
Yeah, Checkered flag on the warm-up period here. We'll head down to the racetrack. This race is one of the longer ones tonight without any yellows. 1 hour, 9 minutes, 54 seconds. It took 1 hour, 41 last time out in Season 3. Down to the racetrack in just a moment's time with our HelloFresh starting lineup. Let's head down there and get that rolling. But first, let's pick our winners tonight. This is gonna be a big risk. I am going to go with the driver on the outside of the front row, Seth Knoll, in that number 1. Something about him. I like that he's in the playoffs. I like that he's starting on the front row. I would have picked Connor Horn, but I think there's a little bit too much risk in him tonight. Finian, the 1 is my pick this evening.
I think it's going to be a definitely solid pick. As far as me, I'm going to have to go with who am I liking? I'm going to be cautious, I guess, quote unquote. I'm going to go with 56.
All right, so this is interesting here because I like trends, and Skyley started P3 in Season 3 and 1. He's starting P3 tonight, but I'm at the bottom of the announcer standings for the picks, and Jacob Bell told me just go the Jake Nichols route all the way out and see where that takes you. So I'm going to stick to a strategy. I'll go ahead and say Jake Nichols, but in my heart, I'm taking the 7. But my official pick is the 73. I
am surprised that you didn't roll with the 7. I think he's a good pick. I just don't know. I mean, look, I know he won last time we were here, but Finney, I'm looking at that cut line and looking where he is. I know that we've seen some drivers in desperate moments win and move on, but you're below that cut line for a reason. I think that he had a stronger season. I think that 7 might be my pick, but I'm going to roll with that 1 instead, and we'll see where that takes me. Let's roll through the starting lineup here, and it's going to be Connor Horn in the front row, Seth Knoll on the outside in that number 1. Both are playoff competitors, Finney.
Yeah, moving on back to row number 2, James Scioli, who needs a decent finish, is a bit below that cutoff line at the moment. In third, next to Edward Shearer Jr., solid run for him. In fourth in the 17.
Jake Matheson starts 5th in the number 56. Ricky Springer rolls off 6th in the number 51.
Back in 7th to meet Jake Nichols in the 73, and then the other player driver next to him, the 24, Michael Curran in 8th.
And 9th place, Greg Mitchell in the number 2. Cameron Hearn rolls off 10th in the number 4 machine.
Moving on back to 11th, Matthew Bell in the number 9 machine. Next to him, Travis Beckner in 12th in the 28th.
13th place, Tyler Nichols in the 41. Justin Bondurant in the number 11 starts 14th.
Moving on back to 15th, we Jeremy Miller in the 30 car. Next to him, Ryan Hartz in the number 3 in 16th.
17th place is Bryce Senesac in the 09 Toyota. Skylar Shackelford starts 18th in the number 88.
Moving back to 19th, we Blaze McKinney in the 87. Next to him, Garrett Graham, the number 5 in 20th.
21st place, Casey Lakatos in the number 50. Spencer Burns rolls off 22nd in the 06.
Moving on to 23rd, Douglas Dubing in the 71. Next to him, David Weishart in the 33, lineup in 24th.
And 25th place is Connor Okrezik in the number 14. Brad Slaughter Jr. rolls off 26th in the 83.
Back in 27th, to be Jacob Bell in the 77 machine. Next to Mason Kane, lineup in the 31 car in 28th.
29th place is Ed Robertson in the number 64. Justin Anisogak starts his 67 Camaro in 30th.
And rounding up the field will be Ryan Swan in the 167 in 31st. I don't think he's actually racing.
Admin tonight.
Yes.
So 30 drivers will take to the green tonight for this 172-lap race as the field gets warmed up here. One last look at the weather. It continues to get hotter and hotter and hotter. Hunter, how is that going to play into things today? It's probably going to make this extra slick if it wasn't hard enough already.
Oh, it's going to be hot. It's going to be slick. Like I said, Season 3, it was partly cloudy with low humidity and lower temperatures. So it's going to be interesting seeing these guys work their way through the bottom, middle, and the top group here.
All right, well, it's time to go racing. Race 15 of the season, the first race in round 2 of the playoffs. If one of those playoff contenders wins this race tonight, they will head and be part of the Final Four at the season end in just a couple weeks' time. Iowa Speedway underway. We're green in the Area Cup Series. A little bit of 3 wide deep in the field as Connor Horn leads the opening lap. And how long can drivers just get in a groove? I think this is one of those races that as I say, that Spencer Burns around, we're going to stay green for the moment. But his oddly painted car is going to get back underway while we stay green.
to be back out on the track. Yeah, you mentioned he's going to stay green. Oh, maybe not for long with the way they're going here in the midfield. Almost 3 wide coming off the corner. 51 or Ricky Springer trying to work to the outside. He's not going to be able to get there, but it's still side by side along with Jake Nichols.
Ern working his way through the field, but here comes Travis Beckner trying to stop the bleeding. Going to be fighting for the 9th spot. Meanwhile, Current up in 8th in the red. Going to need a good run tonight to have a shot at the championship race in a couple weeks' time, as there's Ryan Hart's getting close to Greg Mitchell down in 3 and 4.
Yeah, what I was going to say before the 06 looped it around is I think this is going to be one of those nights that if you can get about 15, 20 laps worth of tire burn on these cars, we could get a lot of green flag running. If we get a yellow before then, all hell's going to break loose. David Weishart set from the sidelines tonight as Greg Mitchell goes chasing it down the hill. David Weishart says, not racing tonight, couldn't pay me enough to, quote, drive that turd.
Damn. Yeah, there's a couple others that didn't actually start the race. So David Weishart, Mason Kane, and Brett Slaughter will enter the server. They decided not to race, so we're down to 27 already at the start. And we got the leaders sorting themselves out. Connor Horn just ahead of Seth Knoll, Jamie Scioli, then Matheson Nichols, your top 5.
Yeah, Travis Beckner had a moment last lap coming off turn 4, was really loose, and I think that's why we're seeing some of those guys just decide to not push the issue with the 3 drivers retiring early on or not even getting out on the racetrack. Greg Mitchell had a moment, Travis Beckner had a moment. We're not even 10 laps into this run, Kyle, and cars are really loose.
Yeah, I do think that over the course of the run, you might see the balance shift to tight, and that could help even the cars out, but if you got to get there first. Here's Tyler Nichols. That 41 has dropped like a brick. He's just dropped to 18th after starting 13th, so not going the right direction for Tyler Nichols. And he's got Garrett Grant, Newbegin, and others kind of lingering at the back here as well.
Some side-by-side action there. Douglas Newbegin, Garrett Grant. Just ahead of them, Tyler Nichols running in 18th. See some position exchanges up ahead. Ryan Hart's duking out with Matthew Bell's at 3 wide for a second in this battle. Ooh, that almost got dicey off before. And that's where you got to be really careful with the corner exits here, with how hot the track is and how slick the car is. A little bit of contact might be all it takes to set a car to go spinning around.
Ooh, Nichols blinking in and out there. That's not good for the 41.
Spin ahead of him. And it's the 11 of Bondurant. Caution out, and more cars ahead.
Oh.
And is that the 5 that's in it? It is, and Curhan is one of those involved.
Oh, that is not good. That's one of our championship competitors, and he needed a decent night.
Saw the 11 spinning first, and they collided early in the corner. Let's back this up a little bit further. Oh, Beckner's going to get the 11, bounce him off the 24. 11 hits the wall pretty hard. And I think most people missed the 24, but there was some contact a little later. Here's another look. Right there's the 5, and then looked like the 88 of Shackelford got a piece of it as well. But we have to look at this from top down here, Finian. What do you see here?
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of tough to tell. It looks like Beckner might have gotten into 11 and sent them around.
Oh yeah,
it's kind of I don't know. I call it more of a racing incident than anything.
Might see the OL go to the Beckner machine there, but it was very close racing and absolutely not what he needed to see, nor did the 24 of Current.
No, and they're both playoff competitors, so that's going to hurt both of them. The thing that's going to help is that the field size isn't enormous tonight, so that will keep them from getting buried in 40th. The worst they can do right now is about 26th. So Justin Anasogak's on pit lane, a couple others, Ed Robertson, Garrett Grant, and some more, and Racing Deal Finney in between those two.
I was about to say, admin's going on that. He's going to deem that a racing incident, so no penalty. Much to maybe Curran's dismay.
I think
he probably was open for that.
I'd imagine they looked at that from above and saw that maybe the 28 was between the cars and had more space at the beginning of the straightaway than he had at the end. So maybe he just kind of got squeezed there. But could he have backed out? Yeah, is he required to? Probably not. So giving him the benefit of the doubt there, at least this early.
It looks like Spencer Burns also retired from the session.
Yeah, he was out with an incident on the second lap. Here's what happened here. I'm going to walk back and forth on. I'm still trying to figure out what is on this paint scheme. Or who?
Yeah, I know. We're
guess
going to
is,
have to ask him about that.
is
Unfortunately,
that
I retired and didn't
is
get
that
the chance to.
David Weishart? I think it is.
Wait a minute.
Can you
You have
tell?
to. That would be very interesting if that was David Weishart, because I've never seen that picture before.
I mean, you tell me. I'm getting not a great look at it. He's got donuts on the side of the car, I think. Right?
Oh, 06, yeah.
The mysteries will not be solved. Usually it's serial murderers out here, but that one's the next one on the list. Newton County Sheriff's been working hard on that one. And should be 1 to green next. Oh, this is one of those tracks with those extra long yellows, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's not too bad. It could be worse.
Has an extra lap. Connor Horn leads the way. Could have picked him. I'm closing in on you, though, Finney, and I'm running you down in the points.
You are running me down.
Within about,
Getting a
what am I,
little too
3?
close.
3 points
Yeah,
back?
3 points behind, yeah. I've been slacking the last couple rounds.
So all I need is for Jake Matheson to have a horrible crash.
I think what we should do is that if you do pass me in the points, you should let your cat pick. I don't know how you do that.
Well, the unfortunate thing for you, Finney, is he has been picking.
Oh, that's cool. See, that's where I've messed up. I need to get myself a cat.
Well,
What?
I had a joke primed and it didn't fire.
Still cooking?
It's still, yeah, I don't know if I've started the stove yet, to be honest. Haven't even preheated the oven for that joke. It is raw and sticky.
Well, I went to the source, David Weishart. I asked him if that picture was his, and he said, "Better not be me," because you don't really know who's in that 06 car. So they're still going to do a little bit of investigative journalism down there, but for the moment, it's unknown who was on that car.
All right, well, to do some fingerprints or something. Get down to the bottom of it. Mr. Jenkins, it's you? Wouldn't have found me, too, if it wasn't for you and those meddling kids.
Oh boy, we're already losing this lap 13.
I got my brain's cooked. It's been a long weekend for me. Here we go, boys. Lap 14. Let's restart here at Iowa, the Area Cup Series round 15. And green flag, Connor Horn. That's a good restart for the 42. He's off and away.
Yeah, really great jump for him. We'll see, can he manage it and keep it going off into turns 1 and 2? He will. And it's going to be James Scioli up into second, Seth Knoll third, Matheson middle, 3 wide with Nichols and the 4 of Cameron Hearn gets out through there.
Beckner might have gone close to the wall. Don't know if he gave it a tap or not, but he's in the 3-wide situation himself with Ricky Springer on the bottom, Shear Jr. in the middle. Going to try and work that third lane on the outside, down the front stretch.
Leaving turn 4 is a trouble spot, kind of a pinch point of the racing line. We got through it that time. The 17 still middle 3 wide. The 51 pushes up in the center. There's a nasty bump down there in the center of 1 and 2 that you can only really avoid by running mid-track or higher. If you're on the bottom, you can get shot straight up into the guy on your outside. It's an unsettling feeling, very tight between these two. They're going to be 4 wide. That is not going to work. Ooh. Beckner has to give way slightly.
Oh, spin.
Blaze McKinney.
Yep.
Similar to what we saw with Spencer Burns, almost the identical spin. He's off and away again, going the right direction. So we remain green. Look back at this battle, it's kind of died out, but if Beckner had shot the gap with Bell, that could have definitely been a wreck. We go back to 2 wide racing here out of 3 and 4.
Yeah, close quarters racing throughout the pack. You see a little bobble there from Shearer in the back, who's running in that 10th spot. They're 3 wide behind him going through the turn. Springer looked like that was Newbigging as well. That was getting a little piece of that, and Springer still looking for that 10th spot.
I just watched the 51 go over that bump again on the bottom. It looked like it's crashing over it, like it hits the bump and then just immediately shoots straight, like there's no way to contain it. That is going to be problematic. 51 tight out of 4 up on the inside of the 17. He's going to get split now 3 wide with Newbigging on the bottom.
And off he will go into the corner. Will he be able to make the move and execute it? He's just ahead of Springer and still not clear of Okresic in the 14. And it goes back side by side where Ricky Springer. We're looking at him on board in VR. See him completely focused, trying to see if he can get around the 71.
Yeah, he was climbing towards the top 10, got all the way up to 6, but has fallen a little bit back since the restart of this race. So he's going to work that middle, the outside lane groove, trying to find his way back in the top 10.
Springer works over Okrezik for the time being. Up the road, Cameron Hearn is up to second place. He started back in row 5, Phineas. This 4 is moving forward at the moment. Scioli was also experimenting with the high lane in 3 and 4. That was something interesting that I hadn't seen quite yet. So maybe the 7 trying to find some speed. And you know what's really good for the 7, Finian? Look where that number is in comparison to those in yellow. He's only behind one other playoff competitor.
Yeah, he is only behind one more playoff competitor. He's getting up there, and you can see majority of the field, other than Michael Curran, is the playoff drivers are in the top 8. He's the only one missing out of the party at the moment, and I'm sure he can't wait to get back in that party. As Cameron Hearn is a 9 points driver, he's not a playoff driver, I should say, just ahead of Connor Horn.
Party for 1 for the number 4 car as he's driven all the way up to the lead and is planning to drive away from it, but got to be wondering how much that's going to do for tire wear. Travis Beckner, actually that's not Beckner, that's Matheson. Similar paint scheme from a season ago for Travis Beckner, now on the 56 of Matheson. He's up to 3rd, and all the way up to 4th and 5th are Scioli and Bell. Both guys are below the cutoff line, fighting in the top 5.
Yeah, there's Ricky Springer and the 17 still fighting for about 10th spot. Ricky's gone to the high side and cleared Okrezik, who has dropped back to 12th spot, and Connor Horn's back for the lead, and Hearn's in the fence.
And Hearn's in the fence. I'm going to go put back to 4th. Take a look at your semi-market replay. Way high in 3 and 4, and I think he's trying to make that outside lane work. Just couldn't quite work. And he got suctioned in the walls.
Yeah, that's taking the Larson line a little bit too extreme, which, by the way, I just realized that the Cup guys in real life will be going to this track in June, so that will be interesting to see if the 5 can replicate that. I think Arnold was getting a little bit too greedy there, but still inside the top 5.
Has the Cup Series gone to Iowa yet?
Nope.
So for the first time, I feel it's some Mandela effect. Oh, good trouble. The 4 is going to bounce off the 9. The 9 spins right across the road and then back into traffic, and he's going to get split by the field. Wow. Caution is out. That was very lucky.
I am amazed he didn't get taken out there.
I thought that the commentary curse was about to hit the 73 car. Look at how close he was. Whoa, my gosh.
Yeah, they just tangled, and they were not going to let go. It's like you get magnetized.
Man, Nichols called a break there.
That is going to require a pit stop to change the undergarments, I think. Beckner got in the wall. Hitting the brakes to miss it.
Yeah, because he was going to run into the back of the 73, and that would have been a no-no for both guys. So instead, it's a no-no for Travis Beckner, but a big break from the 73.
Yeah, so what happened? Did the 9 come off the wall and hit the 4, and that's what kind of prompted the rest of it here?
That might be the case, yeah.
He was turning off the wall. He was going to hit the wall, but turned off a little bit too soon, and that's what led to the collision between him and Cameron Hearn, but will be interesting to see. I think that might be going down as a racing incident as well.
We shall see. Pit stops are underway, and it looks like most, but not all, have come to pit lane. Douglas Newbegin stays out. Everybody else has elected for some tires and fuel. I think the call would likely be 4, but Lakatos has elected for a fuel only. I think everyone else has gone for tires and fuel.
Yep, the only driver to stay out, Douglas Newbegin in the 71 machine. Everyone else come down to pit lane. Everyone else has gotten, let's see, Casey Cottis and Justin Sogek, only drivers taking fuel only. Everyone else 4 tires.
We'll see if Newbegin will lead a lap and then come to pit lane, or if he'll decide to stay out and maybe save a set of tires. In a race of this many laps at a track that could be burning up tires this quickly, Finney, and I don't hate the strategy. This is way early in this race. I would be fine giving up some ground and some opportunity here to save myself a set of tires for later.
It's always a matter of keeping your options open, especially if these drivers are going to anticipate this being a more caution-filled race. It gives you more strategy options later in the race to work with.
Yeah, interesting strategy call here for Newbegin to stay out, not to mention Lakatos and Anna Sogak. They came in, topped off on the fuel, did a little gas and go there, so going to be mixing things up with the leaders, Horn, Matheson, Scioli, Nichols. Boy, the first 5 guys out are all inside the playoffs.
So, working our second caution of the night. Douglas Newbegin, your leader, but the first driver on, well, Sogak's on 2. Horn is on 4 tires. Everyone there on back is on the same. Seth Knoll was my pick to win this race, and he has not really gone much in the way of forwards since his start up in second in the front row. So I'm curious to see what that Solar Flare Racing Toyota has for all-out pace. Now, between Miller Racing and Solar Flare this season, it does seem like Solar Flare's consistency is there, Finian, but the outright speed that the Miller Racing cars have has been almost impossible to match.
Yeah, it really has been hard to match, which is ironic considering, you maybe chalk that down to setup, but we're in a fixed setup series, so it's just a matter of I guess, the way they're handling the track. Maybe they found something to handle these conditions. Taking a look at the track time against 122 degrees now. Only getting to get harder for these guys. It's just about 145, 146 is just ticked over out on the track. So it's warm out there for these drivers. It's just a matter of handling these conditions. Although the looseness is not terrible. I was expecting it to be a little bit worse, but I think also the driver is taking it a little bit easy, inching it around here.
The wind has gone up 6 miles an hour since we brought this graphic up. Oh, now it's going down.
Yeah,
okay.
Pretty
Go
gusty.
figure. Go figure. Yeah, huge gust, and now it's down to nothing.
Travis Beckner has got his engine shut off making repairs, and he is going to go a lap down unless he launches right here. And because of that, he should stay on the lead lap, but that was cutting it pretty close. He will stay on the lead lap 25th. Spencer Burns, the only driver out. Justin Bondurant's 3 laps down, but still rolling. Everyone else is on the lead lap and ready to restart.
They're ready to get it going here. It's Newbegin, Lakatos, and Sogak now inserting themselves at the top of the order. We'll get a chance to see how much fresh tires are going to be worth with these guys. And we typically haven't seen tires be worth a whole lot for the next-gen car in particular, but maybe this could be the track that changes that. We saw it was really a matter only at Indianapolis. It's the only track I can think of off the top of my head where the tires really did matter.
Not sure if we talked about it or not, but real quick, the last incident for a caution was deemed a racing incident, so no EOL for anyone.
Coming back to the restart, lap number 30 of 172, a long way to go. Newbegin fires off, and Sogak follows, and Connor Horn drops from top to bottom and tried to jam himself ahead of the 73 of Jake Nichols. He was not having that, but now he will slot himself in, and it's going to get frantic on the backstretch here.
Well, it's going to get very frantic here as they're working past the slower cars. Definitely those tires going to be worth something at the very least. Lakatos immediately falling back. Horn already past Sogak in for the lead. You see Jake Matheson trying to steal the lead away from the 71. He will. And up to the lead he goes.
Gonna leave that lap and gonna set sail on that outside line as Connor Horn looks to follow the tire tracks. Meanwhile, they're still door-to-door for the fourth spot. I think Nichols just now cleared Sogak off of turn 2, and here comes Skyley looking to take 5th.
Sherman Miller's in the middle 3 wide right here between the 17 of Scherer Jr., who spent more time 3 wide than solo tonight. Lakatos, bit of a bobble there out of 4, and Matthew Bell caught in the middle.
Bottom middle trying to see if he can get back up. And I think Lakatos almost got hit checking the wall. He's way out of line. And he's been continuing a slow trickle on back. And Sogak putting up a little bit more of a fight up near the front, but he's also slowly dropping on back. You see there, he's done past by Scully. Newbegin, there comes 3. Reinhardt's is inside.
Greg Mitchell
not for the lead. Sorry to cut you off. Connor Horn, Matheson side by side.
Here we go. 42 down low, 56 up high. Matheson going to take it easy. Going to let the 42 come up and clear. Will he cross him over? Big moment off 2 for Horn. He's going to take the lead. Matheson's still going to roll the top in 3 and 4.
Remember, go back to Dover a couple of, well, that was a long way ago now, but these two ran into each other. The 3 is all crossed up, so is the 67. This is wild out of turn 4, but back for the lead, still side by side. Tongue hanging out, you know it's serious.
Definitely serious, and there goes Connor Horn finally past Jake Matheson. He'll back up to the lead for the 42. He ought to sit in second, but don't look too far back. The 73, Jake Nichols, he's coming in hot.
And just a half-second back from race leader Connor Horn, with the pressure still being applied from the 56 of Matheson. Skyley Springer, your top 5, and then they're still duking it out in the back. You see Sogak's falling all the way outside the top 10. I think he's around the top 15 now. But Greg Mitchell is starting to work his way through. Then a little further up the road, Newbigging's still fighting with the 3 of hearts for 10th.
Yeah, that one got pretty wild for about a lap or two, and then it started to settle itself back out, which is good news. That one still dropping down the order. I'm not liking that so much, as Finian's pick drives up to second, so progress might be halting here tonight slightly on the announcer's points race. But besides the point, Newbigging back here battling with Cher, battling with Michael Kurhan, and then Hannah Sogak. Again, we knew this wasn't going to work for speed. I don't think that was the intention. The intention is to save a set of tires, and as long as you don't get yourself lapped multiple times, I don't hate the strategy at all.
No, it's definitely not the worst one you can pick. I think it's kind of setting up here, and I think for drivers just trying to play it out and see if we're going to continue to get a bunch of cautions coming consecutively. But for now, we remain green, a horn ahead of Matheson. See him there just trying to figure out what to do. Or if he really needs to do anything at all, just people left just sitting behind the 42. He is currently in by a solid amount of points, leading the points coming in.
About a couple car lengths difference. You see the 4 of Hearn. They're still working that outside lane, although not as high up as he once was a few moments ago, but still working his way through the top 5, passing the 51 is Springer, door-to-door with Skyley for 4th. While Matheson still looking to find a way around Connor Horn as Hearn gets closer to the podium.
Yeah, that 4 is coming with a vengeance here. Remember, he was leading for about a lap or two, and then he went up into the outside wall doing this in turn 3, driving way up on the outside safer barrier. Got himself into trouble on the last run, but now he's finding speed up there. And Jake Nichols is going to leave him the lane. That was courteous. And here comes that number 4 Ford Mustang.
Working around the outside and just almost be able to clear Jake Nichols. I'm sure he was quite clear. If anything, he's going to throw it up high into 3 and 4. One of the few drivers we're seeing actually trying that middle high line on their own, not necessarily just in a battle. A great run off the corner for him. Might have a shot here, and Matheson looks to his outside.
Boy, Cameron Hearn's like that one kid in high school who's just doing the Naruto run on the outside lane. It's got him all the way inside the top 5, got him all the way up to a spot for 2nd, and going to be close enough to challenge for the lead in the next couple of laps.
Well, he might be doing the Naruto run, but he is the one bullying everybody else at the moment. Look at him on the outside, making up all this ground, and he's carrying big speed up here. Connor Horn's not going to fight it either, but at what cost is Hearn finding this speed?
Yeah, I'm just wondering if he's putting more of a load on his tires running out there. I mean, he doesn't seem like he's pushing the car extraordinary. It's not like fishtailing or looking out of control. So, for the most part, I mean, he's just kind of out there putting it down. It's working. It works, keep it going. We'll see. Here comes Ricky Springer. He's also not necessarily on the outside, but working around the outside of Matheson. He's up into 3rd. And working past the 42 Connor Horn. So I'm wondering if these two are just decided to push it. Maybe these others playing a little bit more conservative. One thing to note, though, I did hear Connor Horn shut the engine off a bit under caution, so I'm wondering.
Caution.
Be close. Never mind, because we got a caution. Matthew Bell's dropping down the order out of 2.
Well, that's huge for him, a playoff contender that was below the cutoff line heading into this race, spinning towards the inside wall, bringing out another caution in this Iowa Cup race.
Looks like he does have some damage to boot. 20 laps after the previous wreck, here's what happened this time. He's on the outside of the 87 of Blaze McKinney.
Some help from McKinney, or did he just get loose? He got loose.
Oh, that's a teammate.
Finished him off.
Yeah, I don't know that Hartz really could have done much there.
Decent hit to that inside wall.
He was already crashing.
Yeah. Well, that's a decent hit to the concrete right there. No safer barrier down there.
Not much Hartz could have done. I mean, you try to be careful around your teammates, but if they get loose and have to hit brakes and stop ahead of you, I mean, bam, it's over before you know it. Not a good situation for Matt Bell. He might be looking at must win should things go poorly for him tonight.
That's the last thing you want to be stuck in that situation where you must have to win. See if you can get that car back out there. Coming down pit lane this time by. Doesn't have a meatball, but it's really a matter of if that car can be driving correctly for the rest of this race.
You just kind of worry about the suspension componentry bending and throwing the tire wear out of whack, the steering out of whack. Thankfully, it didn't hit the front. It doesn't seem like it kind of tank slapped the left rear. which is the side that's out of the wind the most. So see how long he spends on pit lane. My question is the 28 of Beckner all sorted? It seems like he spent a lot of time on pit lane earlier with the engine off, but now it does not appear to need any more service on the pit lane.
Yeah, he's going to stay out, it seems, so he's good to go for the time being.
But working our third caution of the night, lap 45 of 172. And it's been an interesting race so far. A little bit of racing up at the front. And we've had a number of incidents so far, and we've gotten to look at them in our SimWrap Market replay. Race fans, head over to simwrapmarket.com for custom iRacing paint scheme templates that are simple and easy to use, so it keeps you more focused on the racetrack. That's simwrapmarket.com. How about that Atlanta finish the other night, boys?
Yeah, that was pretty good. I mean, that's kind of as good as it gets, really.
Well, except
for them.
If you're in the area series, because we've had like 4 finishes closer than that this year.
That is true. It's some really great racing in this series, but as far as real life NASCAR, that's one of the better finishes they've had in quite a while. Just gotta say.
Yeah, I don't think you're ever gonna. In our life, well, I shouldn't say in our lifetime, but in a long time, I don't think you're ever going to see a finish like that for quite some time. I didn't even think about this too. It's not like one of those classic photo finishes where they're beating and banging coming to the line. No, they were all clean, they were all green, and they were 3 wide coming across the stripe. I've never seen anything like it. Third closest finish in Cup Series history. So that was pretty cool to watch from Atlanta. Oh, the race overall was pretty cool. From start to finish, and I know not a lot of people are too thrilled about the new Atlanta, but after that race last night, I'm afraid to say that it is here to stay, the new Atlanta. I just wish they would have done it to Texas, though.
Yeah. I'm a little skeptical of making every racetrack a copycat of this, because as my boss says, it's not a party if it happens every night, but which I think is a very apt way to describe plate racing and that style of thing. But here's what I was stoked about is I spent all of Daytona disappointed in the way that races were finishing, because they were ending under yellow or ending with crashes or wiping cars out left and right. That was a race that finished with the 3 drivers coming out of turn 4, not hitting each other in a straight line, 3 wide. That was the best finish of the start to 2024. It just reinforces that you don't need to smash, crash, or wreck a guy next to you to have an exciting result. And I think that was because you had a couple drivers up there that are veterans. And I say veterans, I learned that it's Ryan Blaney's 10th year in the NASCAR Cup Series. What?
Holy, wow.
Yeah.
I guess he has been there.
And Kyle Busch is 20th. But really, Daniel Suarez was the new chip on the block there.
You know, it's really funny. I always end up forgetting that, like, Brad, like, especially with Brad Keselowski and Joey Logano, they still feel like the newer drivers, but then, I had to, think about it, I'm like, they're the old guys now.
Joey Logano's first season was 2009.
Yeah. And then Brad, even earlier than that.
Yeah. 2007 or 8, I believe.
Yeah.
Well, I think Brad's first season was at 9 also.
Oh, maybe his first full-time. I think
he did a couple starts before, yeah.
Either way, lap 49 of 172 in the Area Cup Series here from Iowa. Only driver still out, Spencer Burns. 26 remain on the racetrack, 25 on the lead lap. Cameron Hearn is gone, lights out, afterburners lit. He takes off into turn 1. Ricky Springer, Matheson side by side for second. Connor Horn looking on for fourth.
Yeah, he's looking on fourth, trying to see if he can get back up there. I'm wondering if we saw him running a little bit more conservative, him and Matheson. That allowed Springer and Hearn to slip through the cracks there off through. Looking at German Miller up on the top side as you look back to the front here. Tough battle here. Matheson, a decent run on the back of Ricky Springer. Nowhere to quite go with it at the moment.
Yeah, still door-to-door for third in the 1 and 2. Springer up a little bit. Might make it 3 wide coming off turn 2, and it will. So this is going to be interesting as they keep it clean and green. So Springer's going to fall back to 4th. Matheson up to 2nd. Meanwhile, Horn's still fighting to get around that 51.
Yeah, it seems like he's still trying to make time up top, and that doesn't seem to come in right after a restart. So he gave up a bunch of spots there as Connor Horn drives up into 3rd place behind Matheson. But Cameron Hearn has been the class of the field in the longer runs tonight, and got a stellar restart to boot. Up the racetrack slides, Blaze McKinney's 87, and it's going to be a logjam out of turn 2 behind him.
Yeah, big run of cars in behind McKinney, who we saw he spun out not too long ago. He's back up there now in 6th place, trying to make up some lost ground. You know, it's fighting side by side with Jeremy Miller.
Oh, Greg Mitchell got turned. Spin on the front stretch. Greg Mitchell got turned. We got a few cars piling up. That's going to bring out the caution.
No, it does
No, it
not.
won't. Wow.
We stay straight. Garrett Grant was one of the others that was turned around backwards. Let's see what happened here. Well, we caught it a little late. Let's go back a little further.
I thought for sure that was going to bring out a yellow, but this all starts with Mitchell getting in the wall. Or
Oh,
no,
Garrett
not
Grant
even.
just comes across the road, gets the 2, gets into. That was a big mess over there. Holy cow.
Yeah, I was going to say, whoa. Everyone trying to...
Or later, because battle for the lead.
Yeah, Matheson to the inside of Cameron Hoon. He's been comfortably running that outside. Seems that now Matheson's feeling now is the time to strike. See if Cameron Hearn can kick it up a gear and keep that lead. Ooh, he gets a great run out of 4. Compared to Matheson, who got a very poor run out of 4. Was a little bit loose on the coming off the bottom.
I think that's why we're seeing guys like Cameron Hearn, Ricky Springer running on the outside, and in that almost seems like they got a super boost coming off the turns because they're not playoff contenders. They're just going out to win races. Meanwhile, these guys that are in yellow are trying to win races, and even guys in red like Scioli, who've been up front tonight, but new leader off turn 4, Jake Matheson.
Whoa,
to the
trouble
front.
behind
Oh,
him,
Blake
bouncing
McKinney.
off each other. McKinney and Newbegin saved it. That was a big slide.
Those guys have really been flirting with the chance of a caution. McKinney somehow able to save that. He's wicked loose off of turn 4.
Yeah, huge moment there for the 87 after his impressive climb back inside the top 10. Almost lost it all there. Still clinging on to 10th. Meanwhile, still battling for 3rd. Springer going to keep that car off the wall. He was wiggling a little bit through 4.
He's been doing that the last couple of laps. He's been sliding around out of 4. That thing is not looking very stable. It's got a nervous rear bumper, and it's hurting him at speed now. He's dropping back there, Hunter.
Yeah, he's had he brought back familiar colors on that 51, the Swedish Fish Ghost car, as you can see right there. Ran that a couple of years ago. Boy, run out of the corner for Newbigin, but on board with Springer trying to work that top in.
I wonder if he's trying to rekindle some of the magic that he had a couple of seasons ago when he started winning races, made it all the way to the Final 4. He's no longer a playoff competitor this season around, but still putting in the effort as Matheson, Hearn, and Horn continue to get closer and closer. Then Jake Nichols is going to slot up ahead of the 51 there out of 4.
And just be able to do so as he goes ahead now, looks at the back bumper of Connor Horn as Cameron Hearn still running that outside lane.
And meanwhile, Matheson's going to try and set sail as Horn looks to get around Hearn, and Nichols looks to clear him off the turn. Meanwhile, they're going to be side by side for 5th in the back, Springer and Hearn. So the non-playoff contenders are falling back. Meanwhile, Newbigin, he's on the climb up all the way from 23rd to 4th as he's nearing the bumper of the 73 Nichols.
Have a look at the laps since in his stint. He's got 14 laps on those tires. I thought earlier he was just trying to get ahead on strategy, but he's kind of equalized out because he took that extra pit stop most recently. So he has the tire advantage, and actually it's working out for him because this run has been longer than the previous.
We're working out pretty well. We'll see what he can do with it. We're going to try to get past Jake Nichols, and will do so by a decent margin. Now looking to the inside of Connor Horn.
Looking to get around Horn for the 2nd spot. The 71 is the fastest car on the track. 19 laps difference in tire wear. Going to come off turn 4 and slide in front of the 42. And, well, I think Horn might have given him a little tap going into 1.
Might have been a little close for comfort there. As Newbegin driving forward. I mean, you're not going to hold the 71 back. He's on much fresher tires and lapping at least a tenth, 2 tenths quicker a lap. So that's where the action is going to be here momentarily, as there's still other battles around the racetrack, but the most volatile is for the top spot. Here we go.
Big dive there for Newbigin to the inside. And off he will go to the lead.
Yeah, new leader, the 71 of Douglas Newbigin, back in the lead, should say, because he stayed out and had that little run before the caution came back out. Decided to pit. Oh, Hearn in the wall.
Yeah, same thing I think as last time, where he got into the turn 3 a little bit hot, and it cost him. He was tight out of 2 as well, but he's going to go off into 3, and I think immediately skid up towards that outside wall right here, center of the corner. little bit of a bobble, and it got into the fence. Just a slight scrape. Shouldn't damage anything, but he's all the way back to 16th.
Yeah, it was a very poor lap. He really thrown down the order, losing about 2 seconds. So back all the way now, fighting with Travis Beckner for 15th place.
Well, up front you just saw swapping for third. Nichols ahead of Horn now as he's looking to close the gap between himself and Jake Matheson as the next closest playoff contenders. And Springer's still going at it with Michael Curran, who's had an impressive bounce up, or bounce back I should say, after that early yellow back inside the top 10.
Yeah, and did a miracle last week, and he might need another. And again, it was his birthday just the other day. Happy birthday and congratulations for another lap around the sun. He's got another 107 laps tonight to complete, and I'm sure he'd like to turn that number from red to green or red to yellow, at least for next week. Some work left still to do with Scioli ahead of him.
I was going to say, with the majority of his competitors ahead of him, he's got Scioli, Horn, Nichols, Matheson ahead. He's ahead of Knoll, who's currently ahead of him in the points coming into tonight, but other than that, everyone else that he's trying to chase, he's up ahead of him. But that car, that 24 car, is still looking quick, and way quickly through the drivers up in front of him.
Well, there's a good bit of cars in that gaggle there right around 12th, 13th, where Travis Beckner and Ryan Hartz were.
Whoa, Jeremy Miller just got into the 24, going off the corner. You know, he almost got turned coming off of turn 4. So a little bit of contact. That'll keep going. Miller now back in the claws of Ricky Springer and Casey Lacatus, who's been blitzing through the field on his fresh tires.
Well, packs of battles everywhere here as this green flag run trudges on. We're going to be 3 abreast again with the 50 in the middle, and thinks better of it. And then that battle just behind, that was volatile a moment ago. It still is with the 28 of Beckner. This is not going the 28's way at the moment either. He's had a troublesome night, and it does not appear to be getting any better.
No, really
is that a car on the wall back there? Yeah, Ryan Hartz.
Yeah, Hartz bounced off it pretty good here. Just went straight up the racetrack. That is bizarre.
They only had a minor scrape, but it was just that big wiggle in the middle of 1 and 2 that cost him a lot of speed. So he's back in 18th. He's not having a particularly good night. And here is 30 of Jeremy Miller letting Lacatus on by. Whoa, Lacatus loose.
I was just about to say Lacatus, 20 lap fresher tires, might have worn a good bit of laps off there with that slide in turn 2.
And just got hot too. It's the hot racetrack as well. Finian, go ahead.
I was going to say Matthew Bell just went a lap down. Saw him up the road, letting drive. There he is, letting drivers on by. This is not at all what the 9 needed. I feel like it's only going to get more miserable for him from here on out. I think he's going to be hoping for more caution to try to fix this car, but unfortunately for him, it's been fairly green so far.
Trying to nurse it on through as we're getting closer towards halfway in this race, and you see the 50 of Lacatus. He's still clinging on to that 11th spot, just a spot shy of cracking that top 10, held by the 51 of Springer.
Yeah, I think Okrezik tried to trap Miller up there behind the lap car, and it wasn't quite successful. He was able to pass him the old-fashioned way anyway. Seth Knoll goes by, and Springer dropped to the bottom here. Just over 100 laps to go. Big wiggle again for that 51, nursing a very loose out-of-the-corner race car.
That's the thing that they try to keep in the back of the mind. They're going to be tempted to push that little bit extra to try to gain some ground. But we saw the Lacatus and a couple other cars now. They're starting to look more loose.
Oh my gosh! Shearer Jr.
saves it, and we stay green.
Oh boy, starting to see this more and more, especially off turn 2.
Oh, nice job there. Stepped out on him, and he was able to grab it and keep it under control. All the while, the tire strategy for Douglas Newbegin has paid off in a big way. Basically skipped a previous yellow. That run was fairly short. Came back down, got tires. Now this run has been pretty long enough for him to establish a 3-second lead, and it's been long enough since a yellow that if we get another one, I'd imagine we'd see everybody pit, and he would keep his track position because of that.
Yeah, and all the other drivers, especially the playoff drivers, are going to be really annoyed because this is a chance for them to secure a spot in the championship and make sure they can move on to the final round of 4. Without having to worry about what happens next week at Auto Club, and now all of them are going to get nothing as it stands with Douglas Newbegin leading.
These guys are approaching on possibly making a green flag pit stop.
Coming into the pits as you say that.
Right on cue. I saw the vision.
Whoa.
Whoa there.
My
Oh,
gosh.
Toying with our emotions there, Jeremy. Jeez, oh man.
That was about
he
as
avoided
close
it.
as you can get to hitting that tire wall without actually doing it. That was very, very close.
Oh, I hope everyone else practiced the green flag pit stops because otherwise you're going to see more drivers in the pit road attenuator.
Well, the kind of story of the night has been this car is loose, but the second you hit a bump or you hit the brakes, it just goes straight up the hill. And the problem is when brakes, got to get to pit lane in that moment. So we certainly could see someone pack it in the attenuator down there. Sogak and Bryce Senesek. This is a battle for 11th place on the racetrack. Bryce P11 and Sogak P12.
It's like Senesek's going to be just up ahead and will secure that spot for 11. Both are trying to see if they can break inside that top 10. So Licata is currently guarding that spot right there. And Licata, unfortunately for him, he made some good progress up to 7th, and then that spin kind of set him back, and he's kind of riding in line with everyone else.
Yeah, impressive recoveries for both Anna Sogak and Bryce Senesek. Senesek had a little bit of a fender bender earlier on, but has rallied back to just a spot shy of that top 10. Meanwhile, playoff guys, 2nd through 6th on the racetrack. These guys separated by a few car lengths.
Caution.
Matheson.
Greg Mitchell.
He's had a poor night. Spun once earlier on, and now he's going to be spun again. We'll see if he had some help or if this is him getting loose. No one around him. Immediate proximity, and up gets loose there.
Was he trying to come to pit lane?
I didn't hear him call it out on the radio, but it almost seemed like he was.
I don't think so.
He might have been
Lazy
checking up.
spin.
I think
you
he
know
might have
why?
been checking up a
Actually,
little bit for that car.
watch.
And
Yeah, I was going to say,
Oh.
watch here. Blaze McKinney, and then Cameron Hearn was also loose. It was like almost someone dumped oil in 3 and 4 there.
I didn't know if he was checking up for that, thinking that he was going to spin out in
probably
front of him, and might just clip the apron. But I was going to say the progressive banking here, 12 degrees in 3 and 4, 14 in 1 and 2. Not going to matter now as they're on caution speed down pit road.
So pit stop time, and it's a pretty long trudge down this pit lane here for the leaders. Jake Matheson, Nichols, Horn all trailing Douglas Newbegin, who's going to pull in pretty early because he qualified a bit deeper as the rest of the field makes their way down this curved pit road. We're going to be under 100 laps to go. Laps will start ticking down pretty quick if we get another green flag run like that. Question is, Finney, will we with the aggression level picking up?
I think it is because, we always tend to see that trend, cautions breed cautions. So I think we're going to see more and more drivers as the run goes on. Be a little bit more aggressive, and we're already seeing it struggling as you see drag race on pit lane, Newbegin and Matheson. But yeah, I think we're going to see some more cautions from here on out as we're approaching the halfway point.
Matthew Bell is out here. He stayed out to make sure that he would get his lap back. He's P5 but has yet to pit. He will do that this time.
I didn't know if he was planning on taking a wave around or not.
So Matthew Bell is in. Been an interesting race so far. Here's a look at your stats. 4 yellows. Last time we were here, we had 11. So we're trending a bit less than that, but things obviously could ramp up by the end. Fastest lap of the day, Connor Horns, 24.703. Had 63 green flag laps to our 17 yellow flag laps. We've had 4 leaders and 8 lead changes so far today. So as we what are we at? We're basically at the halfway point, almost. Lap 81 would take us to 162, so we're just shy of the halfway point of this race. It's been getting spicy, but I'll bet you it gets almost as spicy as Rick's Hot Sauce by the end. Make sure you check out rickshotsauce.com for some of the best hot sauces made locally in South Florida. Try the Loxahatchee Classic, Golden Garlic, Palm Beach Pineapple, or South Beach Heat. Make sure you follow that Rick's Hot Sauce Rookie of the Year battle in the Area Cup Series and see which driver will take home the $100 prize as the highest finishing rookie in the point standings.
Sorry, I got a cough. I think I got what Backner got.
Yeah, I wonder who would be leading those standings.
He might be the only rookie left in the playoffs.
I mean, it could be anybody. It really could be anybody.
Perfect. Got him on his phone. He's like, I got it locked up. Got nothing left. Got $100. I'm coming to my name at the end of the season. Don't text and drive, kids.
I'm going to have him buy me a sandwich.
Just looking up good places that have good steak.
Spend the $100. Have with a bit of Rick's hot sauce.
The best steak I've ever had was in Las Vegas, and it was like an $85 steak or something like that. I don't normally get steak at restaurants. This was like a really nice steakhouse. What?
I was gonna say that's actually not terrible.
No, well, I mean it was.
There
there are nicer steaks. That was just the nicest steak I've ever had. I've never
do you
bought
have,
it. What?
Like a lot of steaks?
Not at restaurants, no.
No.
There is a place right across. This is a crazy story. As we get the one degree, there's a steakhouse right across the street from my house. I'm not going to say the name of it, so I don't dox myself. But I found out that my dad has a friend. He hangs out with his buddies on a bar every Friday night. My dad has a friend whose brother owns that steakhouse.
Really?
Yeah.
What are the odds?
I mean,
that's so weird.
And it's like a really fancy, nice steakhouse, and I'm hoping they're going to hook me up. He said they would, but I feel like I have not had that introduction for real yet. So.
Well, I'll tell you what, if I ever visit you in Chicago, we can go to the steakhouse.
Yeah. Do you know who I am, sir? I'm a famous Sim TV announcer.
Might be more famous in the next week or so. Let's see.
Ooh, teasing some spicy announcements coming to our way here. Well, it can't make me any more famous than I already am in relation to that thing. So, anyway, green flag. Iowa Speedway back underway here, the Area Cup Series. Jake Matheson ahead of Nichols, but Newbegin ahead of everybody.
And that was really be a real test to see the pace that Newbegin's got, because of course he had a lot of help from the fresher tires in the last run. Now does he have the same pace on the equal tires? He was pretty quick before in the first opening run, but then got passed by Matheson Company as they're coming back on through. Here is Jake Nichols trying to go side by side with Connor Horn. Horn gonna rock it around on the outside with that run. He'll secure third place.
Even playing field now throughout the top 10 or so, as Matheson trying to clear Horn off turn 2. Not going to be enough. Horn going to keep that momentum rolling in 3 and 4. Meanwhile, the 5th spot still up for grabs. Curran and Seth Knoll duking it out.
I really like that 42. That pace has been good on his car tonight. Yeah, I think I like that over the 56, I'd say, pace. But here comes Connor to the outside of Newbegin here. Battle is on for the lead.
Battle for lead heading off into 3 and 4. Horn trying to see if he can take the outside where we saw Newbegin. Actually, not Newbegin. I'm thinking of Cameron Hearn on the outside, but Newbegin stuck on the bottom now. Horn using what Cameron Hearn was doing on the outside to get that run off the corner. Not quite able to get past the 71. He's still present on that bottom lane, but I think coming out of 2 here, he's going to have to surrender it. There we go. Connor Horn back to the lead.
Horn into the lead as he entered tonight +1 to the cutoff. Actually going to be +2 after securing the pole. Approaching lap 90, and he's trying to set sail from Doug Newbegin.
Yeah, field's been stretching out a bit. They've both put distance on Jake Matheson and Jake Nichols, the Jake and Jake show in 3rd and 4th. Bit deeper in the field here. How about Cameron Hearn? He has had an up and down day. If we had that fancy Fox diagram that shows the graph of the day for Cameron Hearn, it has just been max and min all afternoon.
Yeah, it's to go flying up and down, up and down, up and down. He's had a lot of passing.
If he was a seagull, he'd be doing great, but he's not, unfortunately. No seagulls within 1,000 miles of this place.
He's working pretty well. He's kind of stuck in behind Senizek and Ansoga as they go side by side in their battle for 10th place. Trying to work his way on through and trying to see if he can follow Bryce Senizek on through, but he gets halted as they head through 3 and 4. One thing I forgot to note, Matthew Bell, the biggest beneficiary from that caution, he's back on the lead lap. We saw him go lap down over the race, so he's back now in 20th. Actually just went up to 19th, so he's trying to lessen the damage that he's going to face as far as points are concerned.
Just for the record, I did note that. You just didn't note my note.
Oh, he did?
He stayed out under the yellow and then pit later,
okay.
so he got his lap.
I wasn't sure if he got the lucky dog or not.
I believe so.
Wow, look at the run that Casey Lacana's got. He's up to 5th, guys.
Yeah, back on equal pace and tires. He's having a pretty good night. I mean, we've seen Casey have really good runs. I mean, they're few and far between, but I mean, he's legitimately gotten places on merit, and we only say that because a lot of the times he gets places with clever strategy and some luck. But tonight, I mean, equal tires and all other things equal, here he comes.
I just wonder if he might be pushing a little bit too far here early in the run. I think that's why we saw Horn and Matheson get passed by Newbegin and
Newbegin had tires that were way newer than everyone else's because of that alternate pit strategy. Hearn, though.
Oh no, I'm saying the run before that.
Ah, yes.
Yeah. And I think that might have been from the 42 and the 56 backing off. And as I was saying that, Newbegin, he was actually looking at getting past Connor Horn again. Still on the attack of the 42s, now let him out of his sights.
Well, Lakatos up to third, and I think that Cameron Hearn's still flirting with that outside lane again as we're looking at the rear and the 71 just appearing out of nowhere. Those guys are not.
That was my fault.
Oh. That looked good. Oh, a little moment there for Horn, but yeah, Newbegin, Lakatos, Cameron Hearn in the back still making his way towards the front. Those guys, they're just vying for wins, and especially like Newbegin and Lakatos, these guys, they don't really have that much of an opportunity at trying to win races. Like they're good at some tracks, but they're not contenders week in and week out like Horn, like Matheson, like Nichols. So these guys making the most of their opportunity as Hearn rolls through that upper groove in the back.
Newbegin is just chucking the car into the corner. And it's sticking, but Finian, that's the kind of driving I think you'd expect to wear up the tires a touch. Not as aggressive down into turn one, but he's just shoving the nose. See Connor bounce over that nasty bump down there in 1 and 2. And Newbegin's going to have a run. What direction? Where do you go?
He's trying to pressure Connor Horn to mistake overdriving the corner. See if he can catch him on the rebound, but unfortunately, Horn's pretty steadfast in his line. Looks like he's not going to move, and if anything, 71 might have to worry about the 50. Lakatos bearing down. Lakatos having a really good middle of the race so far, working his way up through third, trying to see if he can maybe get second place. That poor run through 1 and 2. Now here comes Matheson back on.
Yeah, in a few moments, these guys are going to have to be worrying about Cameron Hearn in the back, as you see side by side for third, side by side for fifth.
Here he comes.
Rolling through that outside lane, trying to get around Nichols, and Lakatos still trying to get clear of Matheson, and knock, here comes the 4 of Hearn.
This line giveth, and this line taketh away, and it's giveth twice and taketh away twice, and it's give a thing a third time. That was a hard sentence to say. Give a thing a third. Give a thing a third time. See, hope it doesn't take a third.
Fast.
Take a third.
Whoa! Up ahead of Cameron Hearn, slamming the door shut off of 4. That's backed up Hearn. So he's trying to get around Matheson. Lakatos trying to get around Newbegin. Battles for second and for fourth place.
And Horn trying to set sail from all of this as Lakatos gets the run. So does Hearn down the back, second through fifth, all side by side. Nichols sitting there watching this unfold from the 6th position.
And Connor Horn saying, yes, please fight. Buy me some time out front. We're probably a pit stop away from being done as far as fuel and tires are concerned. Matheson trying to pick his way through this. 50's 3 wide in the center. He doesn't like that very much.
And we're going to go 4 wide here. We're going to be 4 wide for a second here at Iowa. This is not going to end well.
Ooh, wow, they made it work. Somehow they found a way, and it turns way up to second. Nichols now back inside the top 5 as Newbegin and Lakatos are on the bottom.
Lakatos is struggling with his exits now. You see him just getting pounced on the back straightaway, and it cost Newbegin as well. And Cameron Hearn drove up to second through all that. Here comes Matheson to the bottom. I think the 4 is the prevailing car out of this, and he's going to try to go hunt down Connor Horn. 72 laps to go as we start working our way towards the countdown here to the end of this race.
Just past that halfway point now, waiting to see what we got. About 70 left to go on the clock. Let's see, Seth Knoll and James Scowley battling out. For Scowley, he was up there near the front. He's kind of fallen out of the battles a little bit this run. Seth Knoll's kind of fallen out, I think, back in 10th.
And just outside that top 10 is the 7 of Scowley. And up in front of them, you see Knoll looking low on Ricky Springer, trying to take 9th away. And then right in front of him, you got the 14 of O'Krezing. Haven't talked about him too much tonight, so he's had a clean race so far inside the top 10. Good run for him. Another driver in red just in front of him, Michael Curhan, who's sitting pretty good right now after having that early incident on, couldn't remember what lap it was, but it was a very early caution, and he's worked his way nicely inside the top 10.
My gut told me at the beginning I should have picked the 42.
Why didn't you?
I thought the 1 was a safer choice, but he is letting me down this stage. I mean, again, maybe he'll rebound towards the end of this thing. I just haven't seen the pace out of the 1. The 42 absolutely has pace, and he might be the fastest car on the racetrack through the night, with the exception of maybe the 4, but Cameron hasn't been consistent enough really to be threatening, I think, for the win of this race. Let's have a look at your best lap of the day. 24.645 for Hearn. That's for Horn rather. That's a full 0.2 quicker than Cameron Hearn, and it is the fastest lap still that anyone has done.
Yeah, I was tempted to pick Connor Horn, but something kind of told me, yeah, I think Matheson might finish just a little bit higher than him. I thought Connor definitely had a top 5 car, but I think Matheson had a winning car, but looking to prove me wrong. And even Cameron Hearn trying to prove people wrong, even though he's not in the playoffs, he's ready to fight with these guys. They almost all go flying into the wall off turn 2.
A massive moment there for the 73 of Nichols, 56 of Matheson. Hearn still running on the outside, trying to catch up to Horn. Meanwhile, as those 4 duke it out, Brian in the back, you see side by side for 5th. Licata is back inside the top 5. Newbigging on the bottom, and they're still dicing it up here inside the top 5.
Yeah, this is going to get interesting here. Hearn backing up to Matheson. I think these two could end up having some trouble. Big send up the hill for the 4. Here comes the 56 in the center, and Jake Nichols on the bottom. Trouble turn 4.
Newbigging.
And I don't think he was trying to come to pit lane. I think he got forced down that direction as
spin right behind him. Wow. Oh, they are playing. Jeremy Miller is playing with my emotions right now. Almost hits the barrels coming on the pit road, and he's still sideways chasing it up the track in 1 and 2.
I think we're out of the woods yet with that. All right, let's go back and see what happened to Newbigging. He was already loose on the apron on the bottom, and then goes up the hill. There's then here's the 30. Gosh, that should have been a crash, and it wasn't.
It says someone hit the wall. Oh, it's Keys and Licata that got put on the wall.
I think it was the 50, yeah.
And all the way down in 12th now, was running inside the top 5. Had a good run going into.
Struggling again, almost spun it out in the middle of 3 and 4.
Yeah, that damage on the 50 is going to be hurting him until he comes down pit road.
Here's Jake Matheson. Now he's got Connor Horn back on the windshield. Up the outside goes the 56. How much of that Dover race is in the back of Matheson's mind, Finney, when the 56 was leading and the 42 just ran up to his tailpipes and spun him out?
I don't know. It might be lingering in the back of his mind, but I think he doesn't want to make any enemies. Connor looking to the inside. He's going to be aggressive. I think if anything, if something happens now, he's definitely going to remember it for the remainder 2 races of the season. Horn working hard, working him hard. Try to look to the inside 1 and 2, to the outside in 3 and 4, and you also got to count Jake Nichols in the mix. Third.
Oh, great run off turn 4. Horn going to go down low. Matheson will lead that lap, but will he lead the next one? Horn on the bottom. Side by side for the lead. Michael Curran has jumped into this picture, running in 4th. Meanwhile, Cameron Hearn must have had a moment while all the carnage was going on a few moments ago. Back in 5th, a second and a half behind the leaders.
Justin Bondurant has called it a day, so has Jacob Bell and Skylar Shackelford after crashes a little bit earlier in the night. I think Connor is fighting a losing battle here on the bottom, and Jake Nichols is going to try to drive up to the top, and Connor slams the door shut. He is racing for a title, and he's letting everyone know.
Yeah, last season, he felt maybe a little bit bullied around because he's the new kid on the block, but he's no longer a rookie. The yellow stripes are taking off. He's battling it out here. He wants to make sure he makes it to that Final 4 unlike last season.
Wow, massive moment there for Matheson. Not sure why. He might have had a moment there in front of the 42, but I did not expect the gap to close that quick between these guys.
No,
the top 4 all within half a second of each other, Kyle.
The 73 also had a slip in turn 3 and 4, so it's been just really slick on that end of the racetrack. The track temp has not cooled off. It's been bright and sunny all afternoon long. Laps are quickly winding down. Just 25 minutes of racing remaining here. Probably owe us another pit stop at some point as well. So we'll see if Matheson can drive away. They're all on the same tire strategy, so nothing really is going to change there unless we get a timely caution. 56 up the hill, 42 right on that yellow line.
Lee McKinney just wiped out in turn 1. A couple of these guys are fighting some really loose conditions. with the track being so slick. So honestly, I wouldn't be too surprised if we're going to see a caution. Oh, speaking of slick, Connor Horn, a bit of a slip up, and there's Blaze McKinney and Matthew Bell.
Got to keep up with all of it, guys. One thing at a time. This guy's slipping, that guy's slipping. They're all crashing, all slide. I mean, this has just been one of the sketchiest looking racetrack conditions we've had all season long.
And surprisingly, it's been fairly clean.
It has been.
These guys have managed pretty well. It's a testament to the skill in this group. Michael Curran on the back. And Michael Curran, we haven't seen for a while. We got pushed down the order after a spin earlier on. Now come back up to fourth, ready to go, ready to make it work. Play with the big boys up in front.
Had an early birthday gift a week ago after winning in a photo finish with Jake Nichols, but looking to go on a streak and lock himself into the championship round in just a few weeks' time in Chicagoland, running in the fourth spot. Very good recovery as the field was working their way through lap traffic. Meanwhile, up front, side by side for the lead, Nichols, Blow, Matheson high into one.
And you picked the 73, Hunter, and here he comes to the top spot. And so far today, he has not led a single lap. That might be about to change in the final 50 or so.
I picked the 56, and I want him to win out in this as far as those points are concerned for us in the commentator's booth. But Nichols going to come across the line. He will lead his first lap of the day at a lap 117.
Kyle's that Persian cat meme right now because he was thinking about the 42
Yeah.
and his pick is in eighth.
Not doing so. I mean, those are salvageable points.
Are they?
Hey.
It's almost the end of the season.
You were nervous. You were nervous. I'm going to keep you nervous.
I'm not nervous now.
Well, Cameron Hearn hits pit lane. This will be his final stop of the day. Thought on that, Finian? Like that call?
Potentially. It depends on how well he treats his tires because he's going to have to manage them the longest out of anyone else. He's going to have them fresh for quite a while, so I don't know. It's kind of up in the air. Haven't really seen a green flag cycle, so it's kind of up in the air to see if the overcut or the undercut's better. As the leaders work their way on by, I think Cameron Hearn might have come in a bit earlier on than most people were expecting to come on down. One thing I wanted to point out, though, Matthew Bell, talk about a recovery drive, he's up to 11.
That's amazing.
After he was a lap down with some damage, so he's been moving up forward. Really, I think this is a round where he can kind of be okay. You know, he's not going to lose a whole lot of points. He still needs to do a little bit better, finish a little bit higher, but he's still got a lot of racing left.
Yeah, getting past that Shearer Jr. there for 10th, he might have had a moment because he looked a bit too slow off of turn 4 and then down the front stretch.
He did have a slide off of turn 4, and that's one thing I may want to say. You may want to wait to come down to pit lane because one thing we saw on that previous long green flag run we had, where we just started to see some guys come into pit road, a lot of drivers were loose on the track, and that's what ended up causing a caution. So I think you may want to run this out quite a while because the odds of a caution coming out are pretty high.
Yeah, and the pit lane we haven't seen really be navigated successfully more than a couple of times. So yeah, leave that as the 17's going to hit pit road, and just like that, wow.
Right on cue.
How about that?
He's making me wish that I put a set of cameras up on top of the barrels to see everyone come flying towards them. Oh.
Entering pit road with style, Edward Scherer Jr.
Our script writing's getting better and better each week.
I think we're just getting better at narrating it when the moment happens.
That too.
I had the thought the other day when I was on the train station in Rochester, New York, that they had an AI read the messages, and it sounded so bad that I was like, would it be really full of myself? Be like, hey guys, I'm from here, and I am a racing announcer, and yes, I can record these voice messages for you, so they don't sound like train 3 is arriving on platform 1 in 42 minutes. I mean, nothing screams welcome to my city like couldn't even afford someone to read the message. Curhan passed Matheson. A little bit of a strong arm there, and that's up to second place.
Yeah, worked on him for quite a few laps, finally able to execute and get on by. So Matheson relegated to third, Curhan up to second now. And talk about a recovery drive for Bell. It's been a really solid one for the 24 to get back up here and fighting essentially for the win. He's just a couple tenths off trying to get to Jake Nichols, looking a little bit further back. Bryce Senizak doing it out with Seth Knoll, who's now also starting to move his number 1 car up the order.
Talking in memes here, remember a moment ago with Kyle Heyer as the Persian cat after his pick for Seth Knoll. Looking up front, Curran closing in on Jake Nichols, who's turned into Mrs. Puff. Oh, Neptune, because he remembers seeing that 24 in his rearview mirror just a week ago at Kansas, and he's got to deal with him again if he wants to have a shot at making the championship round.
Well,
Hunter Kresick looks like he had a bit of a mess up in turns 1 and 2, so he's fallen back a couple spots. Actually lost a spot to Ricky Springer. So more and more drivers I'm noticing are fighting some loose conditions.
well, I wonder if Michael Curhan has gone shopping at Home Depot, because he might be setting up to show Jake Nichols how to get things done a second week in a row.
You'll see they're pretty equal on lap times.
That was pretty good.
That was pretty good.
I'm really proud of that, guys.
We're waiting. Do you have that one saved up right
I just made it up just right there. Aren't you so proud of me?
I mean, I guess.
Well, he knocked him around a little bit with that 2x4 last week.
I never feel like less of a man than when I walk into a Home Depot and don't know where anything is. Where I'm like, sir, where's the electrical section? And he points at the sign right above my head. Oh, here we go.
I was going to say, here's going to be something shocking. Here comes Michael Curran with a big run on the back of the 73.
A 2x4 going to use in the 24. Going around on the inside, but Nichols still fighting on that outside, and looks like he's just going to...
Oh, caution.
Whoa.
Oh, wow.
And just like the drill section, somebody's getting screwed. Who was that?
That was a good one, too.
Was it the 3?
I have no clue. I looked at the timing screen. I didn't see anyone particularly slow. Yeah, I think it was Reinhardt's.
This would answer that question. The 3 of Reinhardt's goes around for a spin, brings out a caution with under 50 laps to go, almost 40. And now what?
We pit.
I was going to say, you come into the pits, you get your, what could potentially be your final set of tires.
Ain't no party like a parking lot party? Well, ain't no party like a pit party. Here we go.
And the 4 was 1 lap down, but he was the first car 1 lap down.
Yeah, so lucky for him, after his early pit stop, he'll get 1 lap back. And actually, pretty much everyone that did come in will pretty much get 1 lap back. They'll just take the wave around as everyone's down on pit lane that hasn't pit yet. This will be the final pit stop for fuel. We'll see if it will be the final pit stop for tires as this run goes on. Everyone coming to their spots. It looks like everyone through. I think Curran might have slipped through.
I would expect someone to try and take 2 here. I know we're going to be just a hair under 40 to go when we go back green, but this has the possibility of becoming a caution fest when we resume racing.
Well, has anyone elected for a 2-tire call?
So.
Does not look like it.
Well, Michael Curran will take the lead.
4 tires for everybody in that sequence.
Full pit stop for Jake Nichols. He drops back to 3rd.
Travis Beckner is taking 8 tires down here, I think.
I think he's finally found the time to fix up some damage.
It's not been a good night for him.
Yeah, him and Matthew Bell actually both sitting on pit lane. I'm not too surprised. I thought Bell still had some more damage he needed to fix. Both of them getting repairs.
Headed to Auto Club next week too, which I don't know that necessarily plays into the 28 strengths either. So we'll see how this pans out for him. But before we get back to the restart, it is winter time. It doesn't feel like it a whole lot, but winter is here for a little while longer. It's fake spring at the moment. Bundle up this season with shop.areairacing.com and shop from the new selections of Champion hoodies, jackets, and sweatshirts. Easier to shop, quicker to ship, better to wear. That's shop.areairacing.com.
What's fake spring to you?
So everyone knows in Chicago and other places in the Northeast that when you get this big heat wave that we're all experiencing, it's about 56 here in Chicago today, that this is just false spring. We will get another winter. We'll have 1 deep freeze back in January, and it has been balmy ever since. And we're not done yet.
I hope we're done. I'm sick of the cold. I want it to be warm again.
It hasn't even been that cold here lately. That's the thing.
I know, but it's been cold. It's been too cold. The annoying thing is, at work, it's too hot in our office. Like, it just becomes like an oven. We literally all winter we've been opening up a window because it's that hot in our office. to let the air come in because we literally can't turn the heater off.
Interesting.
Yeah, so we've been wasting wasting heat basically because it comes to the point where like some of us are literally wearing our t-shirts in the office with the window open in winter.
I work in a large warehouse that doesn't have a lot of insulation, so I cannot relate.
You guys are probably freezing.
Well, so last year it was incredibly cold, and then this year it basically moved up into what is effectively the rafters, and it's a lot warmer up there, so yeah. Anyway, these yellows are long here. They stretch them out here for some reason. There's some tracks that feel like they have 1 lap shorter, and there's some tracks that have cautions that feel 2 laps longer, and this is one of them.
Wasn't that a setting you can change
I don't think so.
at some tracks where you can have 1 less caution lap?
I'm not sure.
I forget what the setting is. It exists.
Make this race last longer, Seven?
Well, we'll see if it's going to last that much longer. If we go green in the end, just be over just about 16 minutes left. But I have my doubts that this will be the last caution we see.
What makes you think that?
I don't know. We've got a lot of playoff drivers near the front, ready to go, want to win.
We will see how things pan out here at the front of the field. Michael Curhan is your leader. Last week, stole a win away from the 73 of Jake Nichols in an excellent fair game photo finish. Maybe roles reversed. Things might go the other way today for the 73. If any of those drivers up front in the top 5 wins this race, they automatically advance to that final 4 of the Area Cup Series playoffs. Lap 135 of 172. Green flag of the 7 gets caught sleeping. Here comes the 1 down to the inside. 5 rows back.
Yeah, poor jump for James Kelly. Gets put in the middle, 3 wide. Gets back 2 wide as he gets clear of Seth Knoll.
Maybe gave it back. Maybe Seth thought he had jumped that. Didn't want the possibility for getting called on it.
Oh, Connor Horn just chopping the nose off of the 7 of James Kelly, almost turned himself. As Ricky Springer trying to gas it up on that outside of this number 7.
Yeah, meanwhile, I'm not afraid to jump at opportunity was Jake Nichols. Immediately jumped to the high line, but backed it down on the bottom. Still door to door for the 4th and 5th spot now. Springer trying to make that outside lane work. Skyley going to try and shut the door, but to no avail. And Seth Knoll going to roll the 3rd lane in 3 and 4.
Ricky Springer's up there as well in that yellow and blue number 51. Don't count him out of this just yet. Curhan and Nichols like they did last week, but in reversed roles. The 73 is the attacker, the 24 the defender.
Yeah, Nichols trying to see if he can get enough of a run to make a move. He's all over the back bumper, that 24, and just not enough established alongside to make a move. He looks up high. Haven't seen the 73 run the high lane a whole lot, but he's got a really good run mounted up here.
Oh, Curran fighting with the wheel. Nichols going to get the run. We're going to lead this lap as we're nearing the closing stages here from the Area Cup Series at Iowa, playoff race 3 of 5. These guys fighting for a shot at the championship. You win and you're locked in, and especially for Curran, who's in red, entered below the cutoff line, got a good opportunity to do so tonight.
At the very least, he'll grab some points, even if he doesn't win this race, if he can finish as high as 2nd. What he doesn't need is the 7 of Scioli getting any closer, or, frankly, anybody else.
And Nichols comes back across 24, will clear himself back to the lead. As Curran's put back into 2nd place, though he's not giving up. Gets a great run off at 2, has a little bit of a look to the inside, backs off that again.
Guys had a clean photo finish a week ago. So clean that the Cup Series decided to rig the finish for Atlanta and have a clean 3-wide photo finish. So they're giving us a run for our money, but going to look to try and do so. Meanwhile, in the 5th spot, Connor Horn running that top lane. Skyley on the bottom. He entered 8th tonight in amongst the 8 playoff drivers, so he's in need of a good run. Right behind him, got Connor O'Kresick having a solid run in 7th and closing in on making a run on that outside.
A little dramatic behind him, the 87 of McKinney. He's had an eventful day, hasn't he? Drops underneath Seth Knoll here for 8th place.
Yeah, we joked about Cameron Hearn being one of those up and down days. It's been the same way for Blaze McKinney, as there's almost an incident there. Got they all checked up, and speaking of which, there's Cameron Hearn in 11th.
Yeah, New Bigging and Knoll there, the 71 and the 1, side by side on the bottom. Now 3 wide with Hearn rolling that outside line again. He's had a very interesting night as well. Driven from the back to the front on that outside lane quite a few times, but has gotten into the wall, and it's caused him to drop a few spots back. But Hearn, once again, looking to make the climb up.
Hearn can do things with this car tonight that no one else has been able to do, but he's not able to do it consistently or long enough to make an impact on this race at this stage. It's not over yet, but he's had a really hard time keeping that car there once he's there.
Connor Kresik's been on the wall a little bit, just up ahead. Big battle for, I guess, 4th place. It's Ricky Springer and Connor Horn side by side.
Back on board with the 7 of Skyler, working that bottom in 3 and 4. Kresik looking in that middle lane, going to try and make it 3 wide. Going to be in the middle of Springer and Horn. But Horn going to get a big enough run to avoid that situation. And
there was a, sorry to cut you off, there was a big incident on the back straightaway the prior lap. Jeremy Miller and Matthew Bell.
Prior lap?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
It was almost a caution. I was kind of surprised it wasn't a caution. They just stayed quick enough to avoid it.
30 gets loose, tangles with the 9, nothing intentional here. They just end up getting caught together. And both of them did a pretty nice job saving it, actually. There's a car back there we hadn't talked about all night long, Ed Robertson in the 64. But an unremarkable day for that car.
Yeah, he's down a lap and kind of hoping for another caution. He can get that, potentially get that lap back. Well, currently, the free pass holder is Tyler Nichols in 41 and 21st. 20 cars on the lead lap. And there's the lead. Nichols, Curran, and Matheson, your top 3. And Curran, he's not let go of that 73 Nichols.
yeah, 7 of those cars within a second or so of each other as they're still duking it out on the racetrack. On board with Curran rolling through 3 and 4 now. Getting closer and closer towards the end of this one. Can have a good run off turn 4. Don't know if it'll be good enough to challenge for the lead in 1.
Yeah, he's being very patient. I mean, think back to last week. How patient was he? He wasn't desperate. Just made the moves at the right time. Didn't push the issue. He put a lot of brownie points in the bag for Jake Nichols. Now, this could be one of those scenarios, Finian, where you cash in because if you win this race, you go to the Final Four. No one can take that from you. So maybe this is, if you're going to lay a fender, this is the race to do it in, or this or next week.
Well, the issue is that if you do that, right, Nichols more than likely is going to be in that Final Four. He's probably going to cash in on his investment and get you back for the championship. So that's the issue if you do that. If you're going to take someone out, you want to take someone out that doesn't, probably not going to be the Final Four.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Or, well, it doesn't matter anyway, because you could have a Matt Kenseth, Joey Logano situation. If we don't go to Martinsville, we can definitely take you out.
And then have the person retaliating and go, oh no, my right front was down. I didn't know.
I mean, it was down after he body slammed Joey Logano.
Still my favorite part from that. Oh no, I think my right front went down.
And you could tell he was all like, you could tell his blood pressure was really high and he was all amped up. He's oh yeah, my blood pressure, the tire. Like he was all amped, dude. He completed the mission. He just landed man on the moon, in his mind.
Have the shades on and everything too.
Yeah. Was it Dale Jr.'s famous radio call about has sunglasses on, can't read his mind or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something along those lines.
Yeah, I can't remember what that's from. Someone will tell me where that's from. Got sunglasses on, can't read his mind. We're just over 20 laps to go. Nichols leads by 3/10. Does anybody steal this one from Nichols, or will he just lock himself into those playoffs? It's been a neck-and-neck battle between Nichols and Curhan all season long, and we'd expect both of them to make it to the Final Four. Nothing's a given, Finian, but I think it would show some strength for either of them to lock themselves in before the other.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see how this plays out. I mean, with Michael Curran, he was all over the back in 73, but it's been starting to lose more and more pace and more touch with him as we approach these final 20 laps. I think maybe Nichols was saving up a little bit more, kept the 24 at bay, and now it's starting to punch it and start to build up that gap. I guess the big question is we were expecting to see a caution. Oh, might see it here. To go 3 wide in 1 and 2.
Back in 7th through 9th as Springer rolls away with 7th. Meanwhile, 8th still up for grabs between Okrezik and the one of Noel, but a driver that was making his way up towards the top 5, and now in the 4th is the 4 of Cameron Hearn. As Kyle was mentioning, he wants to steal this.
What?
Yeah, he's been rolling that
How
out
the heck?
lead.
Where did he come from?
He's driven through the field like 5 times tonight. How is he not tired of this?
I really wish we had a thing to keep track of how many passes we're being busted, because I can guarantee you Cameron Hearn's leading that.
We after the race is over, we do have that stat.
Oh, nice.
Really?
Yeah, we'll have to wait on the Sim Racer Hub for that.
Interesting. I wanted to also point out that Jake Nichols has only won 1 race this season. That came back at, what was that at? That was back at Dover, the race that Connor Horn and Jake Matheson had their tussle. Since then, Nichols has had an amazing points season, but hasn't won the barrage of races that the 56 did. So while they have had kind of equal seasons with total points numbers, the 56 has had the glory a bit more often than the 73, and Jake is always pretty cordial in the post-race interviews and always says, you know, we're fighting for the team championship, team this, team that. But you got to know he wants to pick up more checkered flags than he has this season.
Oh, absolutely, especially after the last couple seasons he's had in the series. And he's had a new opponent. That's that 56 that Matheson has really been sticking it to him. He's been leading the points for most of the season. As we look at the 14 of Connor Krezik and Seth Knoll, who is back in 8th.
8th and 9th on the track, still duking it out for a position as a Krezik. Has a pretty good run going. Started all the way back in 24th. Worked his way up towards a top 10 finish potentially. Say potentially after he had that moment in 4.
Travis Beckner trying to salvage something out of the night. This is going to be an ugly one as far as the points are concerned. I would say that he is very nearly going to require a win next week, because the relative strength of this attempt tonight versus everybody else is not very good. It has a lot of damage from earlier in the race, mostly when there was that crash on the backstretch that Travis locked up for, shot straight into the outside wall, and it just tore the right front of the thing all off the car.
Yeah, he's been not able to cover ever since. He was a little bit loose as he was trying to get past Garrett Grant, and then put him back in behind the 5 after he made a bit of a lunge. But yeah, it's starting to look like Beckner's going to be on the back foot getting into the next rounds of the season, to the final round before the final cut.
Going back to that Dale Jr. comment, it was you don't want nobody reading his thoughts, and I think it actually was about that moment. It was about Kenza, I think.
I think that's right. Because when you said it, I was like, that doesn't sound too familiar. But then
you don't want nobody reading his thoughts.
Yeah,
gotta have the Southernism in it too. So
well, I'm looking ahead at Auto Club for Beckner. He finished 11th and 9th there in 2 starts.
That ain't gonna do it. I mean, you're gonna have to go out there. And I remember the last time that he was there, as Cameron Hearn has again dropped down the order with a big moment.
Garrett Grant and Travis Beckner are really loose in 1 and 2. Both almost went into the wall. Tires starting to go. And the thing is the laps wind down, people are going to be pushing harder and harder. So I think odds of caution these last 10 laps going to be pretty high. I'm going to Larry Mack, but that's my prediction.
Well, that will change everything, Hunter, wouldn't it? Whoa.
Whoa. Well, I was just about to say, there's 3 things guaranteed in life: death, taxes, and a fight for the podium spot to talk to us after the race.
Well, for Connor and James, you know, they're going at it pretty hard here, but isn't the enemy my enemy a friend? The Beckner...
I mean, depends who's the friend, and depends who's the enemy.
Well, they should be friends because they're both enemies of the 28.
This is for 4th. I'm thinking this is for podium spot. Never mind.
Well, they're still going at it here, and I'll tell you what, Curhan has caught Jake Nichols. Could he repeat another win beating the 73? What a power move that would be.
I was going to say, it will be really crazy if he can pull it off. He's all over the back of him. Just when we thought he was out of it, he's drilling back in, looks to that outside. Is it going to be enough to be able to start a run here off of 4? It's going to have a great exit. Does the door get slammed shut? Kind of. He hesitated. That's going to cost him it for now. Look to the inside and a lunge to the inside, Journal 1.
I don't know about that. To the bottom. I don't think he can make that stick up there. Had he gotten the nose up to the outside, maybe there was something there. Connor Horn relinquishes 4th to James Scioli, but Curhan and Nichols are going at it here. 7 laps to go. Whichever one of these drivers wins this anyone in the top 5 actually would advance straight to the Final Four at Chicagoland in a couple weeks' time. And traffic, and he's going to go to the high side here.
Granville in the 30 will go a lap down as he lets the leaders on by to continue their fight. Curran Aguirre on the outside. Ooh, gets in the wall as he's trying to get to the outside of the 73. Ooh, Nichols high entry in 3 and 4. Curran going to go the opposite down low. Boy, look at the 73. All kinds of loose up there. Gets a bit of a run back on the outside, but not enough.
Oh, this is looking so similar to last week. I mean, Nichols on the outside, Kern on the bottom. Kern might have enough to clear him here off, too.
And history repeats itself, yes. The textbook isn't even hot off the press yet. They haven't even put it in Microsoft Word to type it out in that overpriced book.
Well, I was going to say they really need to be side by side at the line for the repeat history.
Blaze McKinney on the back straightaway, spun out.
I think he's trying to keep it as close to the wall. Oh, never mind, caution.
And that changes everything.
Oh, that was actually Cameron Hearn spinning out on the front straightaway.
Oh no, that's a teammate of Michael Curran. That's not good at all.
Uh-oh.
No.
His arm was itchy. No, I'm just kidding. It wasn't that at all. It was a legitimate wreck.
Here's what happened. I think the 24 is going to be all right, but ooh, the 50 was loose. He just spins out.
Slow down to check up for the 50 and
all right,
spins the old 4-car round.
No way you pit. You have to stay out, right?
Yeah, no, with the amount of laps left, yeah, it's not worth it at this point.
And you got the restart launch. You're all on equal tires. If I'm Michael Curran, I'm not panicking yet. I think he had that in the bag, had the caution not come out, so that's frustrating, but it's not over yet.
It isn't. We're going to get a green-white checker, too. So we're going to have one more restart, whether or not it'll finish under green. Really, he's just got to make sure he makes it to the end. There's no...
Oh, they are pitting. Oh, Matheson stays out, and Ricky Springer's going to... Oh, I was not expecting this.
I was not expecting this either.
Wow.
A lot of people coming into the pits.
Tires must be that big of an issue for these guys.
For 2 laps, though?
Yeah, I was going to say, if it was like a handful of laps, if it was over 5 laps, I would have said maybe worth coming into the pits. But 2 laps, especially with how many people left. Let's see, who stayed out? Big question. I
At
think
least 4.
Matheson, Ricky Springer, Bryce Senizak, Cameron Hearn. Everyone else coming to the pits. And I imagine we're going to see 2 tires.
And a Sogak.
Sogak stayed out as well.
Yeah,
that is a bold strategy.
Curran took 4 and is going to lose a
Seth
couple
Knoll,
spots.
2 tires.
Curran took 4. I think he just threw away his final 4 shot, guys. And he stayed out on the racetrack. You got 5 cars behind you.
Yeah, I was going to say that was definitely not worth it.
No.
But I mean,
Not
hey,
only that, the 73 as well coming in and pitting also. That's a head scratcher in itself.
I mean, well, the 73 didn't. Not that the 56 or not that the 24 is in a must-win yet. Obviously, we have next week, but the 73 is in a much more advantageous points position than the 24. I don't get that. So he's going to restart.
Sorry, it's going to be one less car. Cameron Hearn, I think, has gotten the EOL for spinning out.
He's still going to restart 8th, which is 4 rows back. If he could win this, I mean, he's got 4 tires. He's the first driver on 4 tires. They're 40 laps fresher than those ahead. I think 2 might have been a better call if you're going to do this anyway. But
yeah, I think you should have gone with 2 and at least get up to row 3. I think outside row 4. That's going to be quite a ways to back to the front in 2 laps. If we had multiple attempts at a green-white checker, I think it would have been a much more sound move. But who knows? We could easily have a wreck at the start-finish line, right? Because we got 4 people starting up on the front on older tires. If one of them spins out and wrecks across the line, that's it. Race over.
As I say, this is their only attempt at a green-white checker. So if he risks them having an early caution and then not even having an opportunity to use those tires.
I just think it was so much safer. You get the jump, you're automatically going to lead at least 3/4 of a lap, right? And then you add a couple of cars that are on a similar strategy behind you that are not likely going to get to you because they have nothing to run you down with. I think he could have won this race.
Well, we shall see.
Yeah, I think Jake Matheson's in a pretty good spot, all things considered here.
We shall see how the cookie crumbles.
Well, 10 laps ago, we thought that it was the 73 that would qualify in to the Final Four first, and now it looks like the 56 might be the first to ring the bell.
It flip-flopped from Nichols to Curran to now Jake Matheson.
Connor Hornsby starting all the way down at 10th. He's going to need some positions here. They're not going to be a very good points night for the 42 because the 1 is also ahead of him now.
Yeah, he's got a couple of guys directly ahead of him, so he's going to have to hope for a good restart or absolute chaos to occur in front of him, and he just kind of picks up the pieces because all of his other competitors ahead of him are up ahead, and then also Curran and Scully as well, who are behind him. They're just a couple spots up the road.
Well, a couple of things that did go Connor Horn's way tonight. He won the pole, which you get a bonus point for that, and he's locked in most laps led with about, 56? So that's another bonus point there. It's not as good as being inside the top 5, but 2 extra bonus points that could be crucial come next week's race at Auto Club.
I think Connor he'll have a pretty good round at Auto Club too. I think generally seems to do well at low grip racetracks. So I wouldn't count him out of there just yet, and we'll have to see how the cut line crumbles. But I think it was a mistake to pit for those that were up front previously.
We shall see.
I think Jake Matheson is in the best spot of anybody, but it has been a very tough, slippery, tricky racetrack today. And we're going to have 2 laps to sort this out. And if the caution comes out, this race is over. Here we go. 2 laps left at Iowa. Green flag in the Area Cup Series.
Little poor start for Bryce Senizak. It's going to cost 4 wide off into turn 1.
They're going to crash down here. No way they make it out of turn 2 in one piece.
If they make it out, this could be set up big for Nichols, but he's going to be close to that wall.
Nope, there they go. There is no way they don't crash. No way they make it back to the stripe without wrecking down here in 3.
There goes Springer. Takes Connor out with them. Into the wall they go. Hard crash. Seth Noel involved. And Matthew Bell around as well. Caution out. And it's a massive wreck out of turn 4.
They're still wrecking coming out of turn 4, but the white flag is in the air. That was their only attempt, and Jake Matheson's going to come home with the win and lock himself into the championship round.
And all of that teed off by the pit strategies and pit calls that Curran could have been in front of. Now, he should be second in all this.
Yeah, I was going to say, he somehow ended up in second.
Not bad, but a win would have erased any doubt that he will have going into next week. Involved in that crash, well, let's see. It's going to reshuffle things. Connor Horn, I have listed as 6th, but we'll see how. We'll go back and watch the replay here after we take the checkers. And it is Jake Matheson winning at Iowa, his 5th win on the season.
Whoa.
And Beckner goes around for a loop.
Oh, Senizak, I don't know if that was intentional or not, but might be a little bit upset at Beckner. But huge break for both the 42 of Horn and the 1 of Noel. Noel was spun sideways into the wall, but still comes home with 7th.
So let's go back. This starts in 3. Okay, this actually already started. So the 51 is about to get split 4 here. It gets hit off the nose of the 1. Then they come down here into 3, and he just slips up, takes the 42 and the 1 with him. Matthew Bell's in it. There's Beckner. Oh, there's where the Beckner and Senizak contact is. Watch here.
Oh, I don't think Senizak knows that Beckner got a little help with the 2 of Mitchell there.
Well, it doesn't matter because he went and gave a little bit of a punt to Travis Beckner to send him around. So there were very not family-friendly words exchanged in the racetrack.
Well, 5th win of the season, and this one sends him through to the Final Four. Jake Matheson will compete for a championship in 2 weeks' time at Chicagoland Speedway. The mission, finish ahead of the other 3 competitors. And that is it for Jake Matheson. Next week, he just gets to cruise and hang out and watch everyone else fight the good fight. Here's a look at your race results. And at the top of the board, Jake Matheson, Michael Curhan salvages something. I still question that call. Jake Nichols finishes 3rd. Despite them in the top 5 regardless, I think they could have been 1 and 2 the other way around. Douglas Newbegin, James Scioli, Connor Horn, Seth Noel, then Grant, Mitchell, and Anna Sogak, the rest of the top 10 Finian.
Yeah, I was going to say, get a chance to talk to Michael Curran and ask him if he regrets. Sorry, I had a sneeze there mid-thought. Okay, went to go mute my mic before I had a sneeze, but get a chance to ask him if he regrets that. Blaze McKinney finishing in 11th, Miller in 12th. Matthew Bell back in 13th in the number 9 machine, Senizak, and Travis Beckner, I think one of the lowest finishers of the playoff drivers, back in 15th, so he's not going to be happy. I heard him on the radio. He's definitely not happy with the way that finished. Lakatos, Nichols, Robertson, Springer, and Edward Scheer Jr. rounding out the top 20.
And Springer, if he held it together, would have had a top 10 finish, but to no avail there. Cameron Hearn finishes 21st after going. Actually, he just stayed in pit road after his EOL there. Hars, Okrezik, Jacob Bell, and Bondurant round out the top 25. Then Shackelford, Spencer Burns finish up the rest of the field because Swan, Weishart, Slaughter did not make the start.
Well, Jake Nichols comes home in third tonight, and there was a point in which maybe about 15 laps to go that we thought Jake Nichols might be the first of the two season frontrunners to lock himself into the season finale at Chicagoland Speedway. But Jake, you come home in third. Obviously, it'll be a little bit of a disappointment. You managed to carve your way through all the chaos at the end, but I have the question for you and Michael, why pit there at the end?
Well, I thought that people, like the guys in the back that are in the back and have no business, messing with our race would pit. I thought everyone would pit. I was surprised when I saw one stay out, and then two, and then three, and then four. I don't know. I mean, I could have stayed out and gambled there, but if it goes green, staying out would have lost the race easily. But I don't know. It's annoying to see guys get wrecked, not even just Seth, but others get wrecked, whether they got positions back or not, because the guy's just having no respect for others. And this deep into the season, I just don't get it. I drove it so deep, not trusting that. I missed the corner by a mile in turn 1 and 2 because I just didn't want to get wrecked by the 4. I knew we were both going 4 because we just had to. But I don't know. It was fun. Curhan was going to get me there no matter what. I pushed a little harder than I wanted to, but I wanted to put less fuel in than what I did on the second to last run there when I got the lead and pulled out a little bit. But I was going to be happy with a second. I mean, yeah, I'm happy with a third either way. I mean, it's good for me in terms of points that the guy that won was already in front of me, so I don't lose any positions or anything. So, I mean, we're still looking good. We just can't go next week and get wrecked. So either way, we're happy. I think we pulled away in team points by a little bit again. Well, maybe not a little bit, maybe like 3 or 4 or something like that. But either way, we'll take it. Good night overall. Just disappointed with some decisions that guys made at the end there, staying out, but we'll take it.
Jake Nichols, third at Iowa. Thanks for talking, Jake. We'll see you next week.
Thank you. See you then.
And second place, Michael Curhan almost had that magic moment that he was searching for in this one. And after Michael, after winning last week and leading with just a couple of laps to go, the racing gods said, no thanks. Caution comes out, and you pit, and I was screaming at you internally for coming to pit road, but Jake also seemed to think that was the right call. You still finished second and third. Could you have won this race had you stayed out on the racetrack?
I mean, I would like to think so, I guess. I mean, since I was ahead of Jake on old tires when that pit sequence happened, so I'd like to think I still would have been in front of him. But oh my gosh, that's heartbreaking. Just had it, and I was going to sail off those last 5 laps, and then the caution comes out at the absolute worst time, and I wasn't sure what to do. I was just flipping a coin, and it just didn't quite work out. If it just went green those last 2 laps, I would have had Jake for the lead for the win. So it just wasn't meant to be, I guess. So hopefully that doesn't come back to bite me next week in Auto Club.
Yeah, perhaps we'll have to wait and see on that. Still a decent result, though, second place. I think the biggest thing for me was seeing you consistently running and down and passing Jake Nichols 2 weeks in a row. That's got to be enough momentum to make you think you're a serious title contender should you make that Final Four next week.
Yeah, I'm starting to believe a little bit more, that I can race with these guys and battle it out. It would be the one deja vu moment that I would have loved to have repeated tonight. But yeah, like we said, it just wasn't meant to be. But yeah, real strong momentum. I'm really looking forward to next week now and hopefully get a win there.
Well, momentum still rolling for the 24. Michael Curhan, second tonight. Congratulations. And we'll see you next week at Auto Club. Good luck.
Thanks, Kyle. Real quick, I'd like to thank Fazekas Motorsports, NAI, DeLeo Braham, Fame Construction, Flash Picks, and all the teammates back at Fazekas Motorsports for all their help as well.
Thanks, Michael, and good luck in Fontana. We'll see you there.
Thanks, Kyle.
And Jake Matheson, it was between Jake or Jake, I think, to be the first to lock themselves into the season title fight finale at Chicagoland Speedway. And it was looking like it was going to be Nichols, and then it was looking like Curhan was going to go 2 for 2 and block himself in. And then here you come, staying out and making it work. I was kind of yelling at the other guys for coming to pit lane. You stayed out of the racetrack, did the strategy I thought was the one to win it. You did, but maybe without the caution, things would have happened a little different. So you're obviously sitting on top of the podium here. You've won your 5th race of the season. I mean, take me through that decision-making process, because that seemed like a challenging one for everyone else.
Well, I just want to quickly say Michael and Jake were just head and shoulders above everyone else tonight. I mean, pure raw pace-wise, those guys had it all day long, so they ran a phenomenal race. Good job to those guys. Yeah, I mean, I feel like it was really kind of I don't want to say it was a gamble, but you kind of had to choose when you wanted to use your tires up, because the car handled pretty bad for the rear tires. It was pretty bad. So it was really, kind of a light switch if you wanted to go fast or not. And that played into that long run, had a lot of comers and goers. It was a phenomenal race up front. I thought it was great. But that last call, I mean, I've lost races like this too many times, and I figured that someone would come out or someone would stay out. So just tried it, and luckily I got that yellow flag. Off into 1. If it came to the white, off into 1, I was toast. But yellow came at a good time for sure.
Well, it came at a great time for you, and you got yourself locked into that final 4. So obviously, your focus has shifted off of Fontana already on that onto that Chicagoland race. Nichols is certainly going to be a threat, but how about this 24? Michael Curhan has all of a sudden come out of the woodwork. Who is the biggest threat to you come Chicagoland in 2 weeks' time?
Well, I will say that Curhan's really he's living up to the Ford style of coming in strong in the playoffs. So yeah, he's doing an awesome job. Really, when it comes to Chicago, I can't even pick. I'm really torn between guys like Nichols, guys like Curhan, guys like Scioli, Horn, Knoll. I mean, they're all really good at intermediate tracks. So I feel like it's going to be, even for the 4 that don't make it in, even if it's 6-7 of us, where it's going to be 6 or 7 of us racing for the win. So it's going to be a good one. I'm excited for it, and we'll take the challenges as they come.
Jake Matheson wins at Iowa, 5th win of the season. Jake, congratulations. You'll be the first of the 4 to lock themselves into Chicagoland. We'll see you there. Congratulations, and good luck next week.
Awesome. Thank you. Real quick before I go, just want to thank Calusa Pines, Celsius, Area Shop, Alien Gear, Huckett Films, and Miller Racing. And yes, sir, we'll be back tomorrow in the trucks. Let's see if we can see what we can do with it.
We'll see what happens. Thanks for your time, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you, guys.
All right, guys. Wow, another good race. This one was a long one for sure, but Jake Matheson steals another one, 5th win of the season. Maybe some foibles as far as the strategy was concerned there at the end, but Curhan Finian above the cut line by 4 points.
Yeah, I was going to say it's going to be really spicy heading off into Auto Club next week to see how it's going to play out, who are going to be the final 4. It's close around that cutoff line. No insecure other than Jake Matheson.
Yeah, this will be a fun one to watch from a track like Auto Club next week. Gonna have to pour one out before, though, and pay our respects to the track that no longer exists. But what a phenomenal race we had tonight. The script writing that almost looked similar to last week, but threw in that caution there at the very end to shake things up. Interesting call there. And yeah, if we didn't have that caution, Matheson wouldn't have won, because Curran and Nichols were hunting down the 56 there, but caution fell at the right time for Matheson, and his slipper still fits for, I don't know why I'm making that as a Cinderella reference, but nonetheless, Matheson, 6 wins on the season. He's a rookie, by the way, so he's already got that locked up. Now trying to lock up the championship, but we'll have a stress-free weekend next week at Auto Club.
And that will wrap things up here from Iowa Speedway. It was just a mirage on the horizon for Michael Curhan. He's still got work to do. But Jake Matheson takes home a big bushel of victory. We'll see you next week for the next round of the Area Cup Series at Fontana Speedway Auto Club in California. We'll see you there.